Test 1, 2.
Hello, hello.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to opening weekend here for River State's Conference Baseball at IU Southeast. I'm Kyle Hawkins, joined by, I think we can call you legendary, former head coach Ben Reel, joining the broadcast today. So, Ben, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. Excited
Absolutely.
to be here.
It's a first conference game that doesn't include you in the dugout in, what I think, 15 years. So, very interesting change, or not as much interesting, but I think it's something that we'd thought about, for quite a while, and the change finally comes, and now you have an opportunity to still be a part of the program, and we're lucky enough to have you up in the booth today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's weird. Actually, I'll correct you. It's not 15 years. It's 18. Player, assistant. It's like too long. Okay, put it that way.
It's 4 and 7 years ago, I think a wise man once said. But we're going to kind of recap a little bit of the series, and with this being the first conference weekend of the year, give you a little look into what the Grenadiers have done thus far. Early on, they're 7-9, but they have won 4 of their last 5, so they're starting to turn the ship around and head the right direction. 16 games before conference play. That's a pretty decent sample size, especially with the 50-game limit now, whereas it used to be 55. So, I mean, you're looking at, a pretty good chunk, and people are already starting to have an opportunity to figure out who they're going to be. Grenadiers coming into this as a team, hitting .277. But one thing to highlight, Ben, is they're 31 for 38 on stolen bases.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said earlier, I think it's pretty bold. I say this, and I made the schedule for Brad, so it's tough. But I think it's pretty bold to say you're going to play, 15 games before you start conference. I mean, everybody says it's a special time of the year. It's like, yeah, because you get to watch baseball be played in not baseball weather, so it is. It's special to watch. But I think they've done really well. They've showed a blend. They can hit for power. They have some small ball weapons that really, we didn't utilize a ton in my career. They've showed the ability to run the base as well, and it's a really promising sign early in the year, stuff to build off of. And I think, especially catching the momentum late, coming in this weekend is just, that's what it's all about. Ride the wave.
Absolutely. And one of the things I think that's also another sign, especially for me coming on the pitching side of my career, is a 7.20 ERA, which early on is usually a little bit ballooned, but it's kind of been a little hit and miss for the pitching staff for the Grenadiers thus far. One thing, though, they are, keeping their opponent's batting average to below 300, right around 288 right now. So especially with the vast opportunities that have been given to a lot of freshmen that have gotten opportunities early, as well as some new guys that are in different roles than they have been previously and just under a new system. There's a lot of things. I think obviously you'd like to see that improve, and it's likely to improve, but a step in the right direction, especially early on.
Yeah, I think it's to be noted that we made the World Series and we won 50 games with a 5.5 ERA in 2021. I think learning how and when and why to use all the different pitchers it's a Rubik's cube. And I think Brett will figure it out. He's a pitching guy, and I mean I'll be honest with you. I think Schaefer's last start last year or his first start at Columbia last year, the first ball of the game, Mason tripped over his shoelaces and the kid hit it in the park home run. So I mean, as bad as it sounds, it's nowhere near that bad. I mean, Shea's been great early. I think, Yox had to be a little bit more creative, but, kind of Gutty emerging as a left-hander in the rotation, which would be, huge. And some big names, in my opinion, guys haven't really found their groove yet, like Freeze. I mean, Freeze was our bona fide closer 2 years ago, and obviously he was like a two-headed snake last year with him and Hill. But, Hill pitched back-to-back this week. I mean, that's the first time I think he's done it since Tommy John, I think the big one for me is Casey Cheek, like I had mentioned earlier. Guys like him, if in 2021 he was the best conference in the River States Conference. He's the best pitcher, in the River States Conference. To have him to kind of come back off of rehab, he transferred in from Campbellsville University. Stuff like that could be huge down the line.
Absolutely, and we'll touch on a couple of those people here in a minute. But you've known Brett for a long time, right? This is his first year under the helm of the Grenadiers, right? And his first year as a head coach in quite a few since his stint back in the Pacific Northwest with the junior college. So with the conversations you've had with him thus far, how do you think he's adapting and getting his feet going, as well as the guys that you've had contact with that, were players for you that have had to learn the new system? How do you think that's going so far?
I mean, I'm honored to be able to answer that, honestly, just because I Brett is – number one, I'm extremely proud. I think he, really has a lot of conviction in what he's doing and, his system, and it's totally different. I mean, he tells pitchers how to hold runners. I mean, just from a sign system, I mean, it's way different. We didn't call many pitches. I mean, we recommended a lot of pitches in over the years, especially once we got the headset and we wouldn't stop talking. But, you go now from calling all the pitches to where it's just a lot of different things. But I think he's done a great job. I mean, I think I speak for all the alumni. We're extremely proud that, the morale. When I stopped by practice yesterday to see the guys a little bit, it's incredibly, overwhelmingly positive. And that is a great sign. A lot of years I didn't play over 13 or 14 position players, and I said earlier, he's played 19 different guys on the position player side, and to have great chemistry and, be below 500, that stands out. I think he's done an exceptional job, and he will be extremely successful here. Everything is incredible.
Yeah, I would have to agree, especially one of the things, with a new guy coming in at the helm, especially as someone that can speak from experience, the culture in this program with a lot of the alumni, that's what we always talk about, right? Whenever I'm talking with some of the guys that I played with or some of the guys that played before me that I've had conversations with, right? And I think that's one thing I've noticed, being able to, be a little more connected, obviously, to the program and being in administration, seeing them on generally a day in and day out basis, that is something that I'm extremely excited and proud for, that the culture has transcended myself, the people before me, and the people that have come after me, and on both sides, right? That this place is special to a lot of people, and it brings out the best in a lot of people.
Yeah, that is an anomaly in small college athletics.
Absolutely.
I've watched programs rise and fall like you're reading, Genghis Khan and, like all these distant empires. It's hard, and I think you're right, and that's, tradition never graduates. I mean, at least here.
Absolutely. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about with opening River States Conference play this weekend, some of the changes that the River States has had this year, especially from the baseball front. We have, as a conference this year, we've expanded to 12 full-time baseball members, with the addition of one of them here, Shawnee State, as this is their first RSC conference weekend for baseball. And with that comes a new regular season and postseason format. So in the River States this year, there's two divisions, both an East and a West. And so everyone will not play everyone for the first time in the existence of at least the River States, since the name has been changed. So we're going to see divisions. So this is actually a crossover matchup, as IU Southeast belongs to the Western Division and Shawnee State resides in the East. But one of the more interesting things that I think comes with it, and we have some more changes that will come next year, as we know, with some of our membership. So it's going to be more of a one-and-done type situation. But I think it's a very unique, path that our conference has now with doing a play-in series. So to line it out for you all at home, we have two divisions.
Let's get our whiteboard out.
Yeah,
we need a protractor and a whiteboard.
It is confusing, so try to follow along, and I'll try to explain as best as I can. So there's two divisions of 6 teams apiece. The top 3 from each division at the end of this regular season will face off against their correspondent from the other division. So the one in the East will play a 3-game series against the one in the West. The top 3 from each division automatically make the conference tournament. That last weekend is for seeding purposes exclusively. So the one in the one, even if they have played or have not played, will get an opportunity to play. That's going to also then add some games because those are postseason games.
I like that. I mean, that's a little sneak move, which I think is great. You know, when they took us down from 55 games, I mean, that's tough. Baseball, you spend all your practicing for very little. You feel like you just don't, you play a 55-game season in 75 days. That's brutal. But
right.
But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No. And so that's a unique benefit for the conference, right? So all teams in the conference are going to get that additional 3-game set. Now, like I said, those are going to be postseason games, so they won't count towards your regular season total. However, the top 3 from each will play crossover, so 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, automatically into the conference tournament the following week. Where it gets fun and interesting is now everyone has an opportunity, regardless of the regular season, to make the conference tournament. So 4 through 6 on both will do not a 4 versus 4, so it'll be 4 in one conference will play the 6 in the other, and vice versa, and then the 5s will play. The winner of those 3 series will come out and then play into the conference tournament. So the winner of those series, the 3, will make it it'll make it an 18 bracket as we go to a new bracket format as well in the conference tournament, which I'm not going to try to get into that part.
We pretty much need continuing education now to execute, postseason play in the River States Conference, which feels like true to form. We're always trying to reinvent the wheel. I think this is a good thing.
And it's unique.
It's unique, you save money, and it is. But I think down the line, as we migrate to another new format next year with changes in it's just a kind of a mainstream topic, different conferences, even the Power 5 realigning and stuff like that. I just think we need to the voice for me is align with the national office. Play 9-inning games, play 3-game sets, have a winner of a series, no witchcraft. No drawing straws, nothing crazy. Just keep it simple. We don't need somebody to come into a meeting with a great idea that's coached for 40 years that thinks he knows more than everybody. We need somebody just to keep it simple. Baseball is a game of routine. It's all about creating a routine that you can execute in your sleep. That's what baseball is. It's very ritualistic. We want a format that we don't have to get up here and bring in props to show you. Even though this year's not that confusing, the 8-team conference tournament is really overlooked. I think that is very problematic, in terms of it's hard to execute a conference tournament in 4 days with 6 teams. You're going to add 8. Now you're playing 4 games a day instead of 3. You got weather. It's tough. Not only that, it's a chance for one of our better teams in our conference to trip over their shoelaces at the finish line, which at the end, all of this plays to get the best teams to the national tournament, which hopefully gets us the best teams for a World Series.
Absolutely.
I'm just a huge proponent of the best teams. I don't mean on paper. I mean who plays the best on the field, and to do that, it's like anything else. You got to peel the banana. You don't eat the rind. It's like you just gotta boil it down or whatever to get the best of the best. So anyhow.
Absolutely. So like we mentioned, a lot of changes coming in the River States, and we do want to welcome Shawnee State into our conference this year as they get their first crack at RSC baseball this weekend against the Grenadiers. So with new changes for Shawnee State also comes, like IU Southeast, a new head coach at the helm. It's going to be Rob Ehlers. He'll get the call. And, Ben, you've had a relationship with him in the past. So how is this looking out for Rob as he starts? Shawnee State off to a little bit of a slow start, but as everyone, they're 4-9, 0-6 on the road to keep in mind. So they're looking for that first road win today. But, how do you see that kind of progressing?
Well, Rob's in Jordan's, so all you need to know is he's the man. He was the longtime associate head coach, recruiting coordinator at Central Methodist, who finished runner-up in 2021. We went to the World Series. They beat us 3 times that year. I mean, absolutely no joke. Nick Merkel and the boys they went back to back to back against us in the World Series. I mean, it was like I needed a neck brace. It was like ta-ta-ta.
Speaking of Nick Merkel, just made his Major League Spring Training debut a couple of days ago, I saw. So.
No doubt. And shout out to my boss, Fred Perez, as I turned him in. So I know it was kind of a long shot, but he was on my list. Anyway, Rob will do great. I mean, first year, you're really just, they've had
you're inheriting a lot, right? You don't have the
Yeah,
opportunity to
no.
kind of
Well, not only that,
cultivate.
you got to move your family. You've got to,
Absolutely.
you as a person are, changing like legit weather patterns of life. I mean, you get up there, you got to buy a house, you got to settle in. You're trying to recruit, trying to figure out where to park your car. You know, where your phone is, where your keys are, what doors they unlock, and you're expected to come out here and compete. But they'll be fine. I have no doubt. I think Rob is a great piece for our conference as somebody that actually can tell other coaches in our conference that Lewiston is a real place. It does exist. I've been there. This is what it looks like. This is how you get there. And I think that's what the world needs. They need good coaches, good dads, good neighbors, good people around you that can just shed some light on it. But yeah, this is Shawnee's going to be, their season will be defined based on being the underdogs and have to be gritty and have to be tough, and they got probably a lot of storylines that over the years will probably simplify in terms of getting his guys in there.
Absolutely. And so we're going to kind of move a little bit into the matchup briefly before we step away for the starting lineups. But a couple players to highlight. First, we'll start, with IU Southeast. I mean, and off to an absolute fire start is returner playing center field today, Mason White, right? Hitting .393, slugging .820, on base percentage of .457 to start the year. Leads the team with home runs in 7. Second in the country in RBIs in 26. Also is 5 for 5 on bags, right? And the difference between last year, we're off to a little bit of a slower start for Mason this year. What's something that you've noticed that he's kind of changed or maybe looked into more?
He knows where to park his car. He knows where to go. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what it means to wear crimson and cream, and wear the threads, and like what that means and what it looks like, and what nobody ever asked you, hey, how'd you start last year in February? They ask you how you finished, but a good start usually helps ensure a good finish. So. Yeah, I think last year just trying him and Trevor Campbell, shout out to TC, one of the best players we've ever had. I think those guys had a pretty tall task. This year he's got more help, at least perceived to be. Some of the guys haven't really rallied around him, I guess, all the time. There's been different lineups. I'm not saying that guys haven't. It's just they haven't yet. But Mason's really, when he's had an opportunity to change the game, he's done it. I think most importantly, his mentality is different.
And we're going to go ahead and go to starting lineups here, so we will be right back in just a second. All right, so welcome back for those of you just joining us. I'm Kyle Hawkins, joined here by former IU Southeast head coach Ben Reel, and we are going to be on the call for the first conference weekend of the year. That will bring the visiting Bears of Shawnee State into town in New Albany to face your Grenadiers. We'll give you the lineup for Shawnee State here quickly. Leading off, playing center field, Nolan Tressler, followed by the catcher, number 23, Diego Mendoza. First baseman, number 9, Noah Snidak. Third baseman, Eric Oakes, followed by the right fielder, Zach Gasper. The shortstop, Luis Mejia. The designated hitter, Brock Kitchen. Second baseman, Hunter Warren, and left fielder, Tyler Lund. And starting on the mound for the Bears today will be Jacoby Reese.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this Shawnee lineup. I'll tell you what, the Grays look good though.
Yeah, when you get Grays that match, they don't look bad.
Yeah, I mean that's like splitting an atom nowadays in college baseball. I mean, we're seeing Division I teams have mismatching Grays.
Yeah, and so we are going to get started here, and the starting pitcher for the Grenadiers is going to be Luke Schaefer. Schaefer, one of the other players that we want to highlight today. Starting the year, 4 starts so far, has a 2.25 ERA across 24 innings pitched with 22 strikeouts to only 6 walks. So good start to the season so far for the Grenadier ace, and he's going to look to keep things going as he will face the leadoff for the Bears, number 34, Nolan Tressler.
Yeah, it's good to see Shafe, man. He's the guy you want to marry your daughter. I mean, and I think, starting out, just like we said with May, starting out, with some momentum, I think it can really carry you. It's a long season for a starting pitcher.
Absolutely, as that one's going to be put into play softly to second base, and the throw in plenty of time from Ethan Burdett, so that's going to be a quick first pitch out or second pitch out for Schaefer.
Yeah, man, today's a day with the weather being the great equalizer where the best team may not win today. It's one of them days where it's soft and squishy and slip and slide around, and it's safe, but it's still not ideal conditions.
Absolutely. First pitch breaking ball in there for a strike to Diego Mendoza. Diego Mendoza, one of the hitters to keep an eye on for Shawnee State today and the whole weekend, as that one's going to be hit softly up the middle and there, but not enough time to make the play as Burdett. So right on cue, that's going to be a base hit for Mendoza. He's hit .316 on the year with a pair of RBIs or a pair of home runs and 9 RBIs rather, as we're going to have a courtesy runner for him. That'll be number 8, Eli Jones.
Don't you love how we just brought it up? The guy's a 20 hopper. Exit velo off the bat's probably, I've seen wiffle balls hit harder than that. And, it's tough because you think, you have to rush that throw, but yet he's running, on a slow track down the line. But
yeah, and that one's going to be smoked down the line, as that's going to be a double for Noah Snidak. So quickly in business here is Shawnee State.
That's tough. Give up weak contact, get a hit, ball goes down left field line. I think this is something that I was obviously Hawk.
Hold on.
What are you doing, Max?
And it's going to be a sacrifice fly as a quick run in the top of the first for Shawnee State. So
may have caught some coach chirp from me right there. I don't know. But yeah, tough way to start it. You give up, like I said early on, weak contact for a single, give up a bloop. It's a slow track, so guy goes home to second when you couldn't keep the double play in order, and then do a good job, cashing in on a sac fly, situational hitting. I mean, I think at the end of the season, I think it's to be noted that your batting average with runners at third base and less than 2 outs really will dictate your entire season offensively. You have to score every time you get a guy at third base with less than 2 outs, and the Bears are off to executing that well.
And that one's going to be hit well, and that's going to be down for base hit. So another run and misplayed out there by Hazelwood, and trying to advance to second, and going to do so successfully is Zach Gasper. So a pair of Bear runs early on here, and another runner in scoring position for the shortstop, Luis Mejia.
Yeah, it always was here. One of the keys to winning a game is to score first. And I
Punch
think,
first, we always used to say.
Yeah, you got to score first. You got to have a 2-out RBI. You got to extend the lead some point during the game. Those three things offensively are really three boxes you need to check to win. And I think it's something to note too. It's the first weekend of the season in conference. Everybody's undefeated. Everybody's beating their chest like we got a shot. And then in 6 or 7 weeks later, some of the optimisms fade for programs because they're not either in contention or they're not, they don't feel like they're, or guys get hurt or just, the grind of the season. But, it's to be expected, early for, the new leadership of Shawnee State and just new energy, maybe new threads like we talked about earlier. They look good. They feel good. They're playing good. They're off to a good start. But, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely. And the Grenadiers have played from behind quite a bit early on this season, and they're going to be doing the same here in Game 1 of the day, as we will play 2. But, as I mentioned, that will bring up the shortstop Luis Mejia with 2 away and a runner on second base, as that first pitch is going to be a breaking ball miss low. So, conversation, quick one there from head coach Brett Neffendorf out talking to his ace, just probably try to settle things down. I think one of the things that is a part of that conversation is the ambush approach that Shawnee State had, right? They were not getting late in the counts. They were kind of attacking early on, first, second pitch, and I think that's probably part of the conversation that was had.
Yeah, I think, you're throwing strikes. There's nothing free, and they've earned it. We're not giving up free bases. I know there was a little bit of a miscue out there and right with Hazelwood.
That one's going to be grounded softly, so continue that conversation as that one is a 4-3 put out to end the inning. So Grenadiers are going to be working from behind early as it's 2-0 heading to the bottom half, Shawnee State. All right, so Slater Shield will lead off for the Grenadiers here in the bottom half.
Big slate. It's good to see him up there. We started the year off last with him batting leadoff early, and then we moved him down, and Had a great season.
And I'll give you the lineup for the Grenadiers quickly. It'll be Shield, White, and Putnam, Goodwin, Burdett, Flock, followed by Murphy, Hazelwood, and Long. So first pitch to Slater is going to miss outside. Slater, one of those key pieces for the Grenadiers, I think, early on thus far. I mean, hitting 400 to start the year, 11 RBIs, getting the timely hits, but he's also 10 for 13 on stolen bases. Whereas he will watch a called strike there.
It's just that right there. A lot of discipline last year. It's like early action, one of the first 3 pitches, and, goes up there, makes him throw a strike. Pitcher's pitch, spits on it. Yeah, he's in a good spot.
And the 1-1 offering from Jacoby Reese is going to be in the dirt low. Slater we mentioned before, had a great summer in the Prospect League, broke their season stolen base record. So a big shift, I think a big confidence play for him, as he's going to loft that one into right field, and there in plenty of time is Gasper to make the play.
Yeah, he did. Slater is such a great human, extremely coachable, extremely eager and willing to help and serve and make adjustments. I'm really glad to see he's doing well.
And now that'll bring up the center fielder for the Grenadiers, Mason White. We talked about in the pregame show that Mason off to a fantastic start, as he has pretty much the team lead in almost everything, and he's going to add to his team leading hit total as a first pitch single there. They're just going to throw into left field.
That's what makes Mason different, is he can hit the ball to all fields. Obviously, he's got power to all fields, which is, high end, in terms of
absolutely. Because not only is he have an affinity for the long ball, slugging .820 overall, so I think he comes up with a slew of doubles as well. But that'll bring up the shortstop now for the Grenadiers, Cody Putnam, as they're going to look to try to get something going and strike back after Shawnee State got a couple.
Yeah, what makes Mace, going back to Mace, what makes him even better than we've already, kind of ballooned him up to be. He's a great player, but now he can run. I mean, Mason's a guy that could have, 30 extra base hits and 30 bags, which is
5 for 5 on the year already. That's a great point. He's taken the confidence that he has in his hot stretches as throw over and back in plenty of time. And I've seen it kind of develop into every part of his game. He came in early last year, after the year off, and struggled to kind of get his footing and the confidence. He's obviously confident in himself, but the game speed things and the situations weren't always there, as he's off and running, and that one's going to be throwing not in time. So as we're talking about it, he's going to get himself stolen base. But the confidence is kind of taken it's shown its head rather in every aspect of his game. He's played a great center field or right field wherever he's been to start. On the base path, you're seeing him make good, smart reads, not putting his teammates into tough situations. But as we were talking about it, he gets himself into scoring position, and now Cody Putnam will try to drive him in.
Yeah, credit to Brad. I think this shows development. I mean, he's, obviously he's in a leadership role, and he's playing to it, and I think that, that is the culmination of great leadership and, great personnel.
Absolutely. Cody Putnam now, he is coming in hitting .364 with 7 RBIs of his own, as well as a pair of home runs. So looking to drive something here, but with the 3-0 count, we'll see if he gets the green light. He does not, as that's going to be a 4-pitch walk to the Grenadier shortstop, and they're in business, runners on first and second for the cleanup hitter, Trevor Goodwin.
Yeah, taking a deep dive into Shawnee State, I think the Achilles heel this year obviously has been just their pitching. It's kind of been drawing straws. It's just, which is kind of normal when like we talked about, Rob taking over the program, just figuring out what you have. But free bases usually tell the tale in the end. So
yeah.
Not ideal to come out, strike first, and then, be put in a spot where, you can't really kind of seal the deal on momentum.
Yeah, Shawnee State and IU Southeast both right around that 72-73 walk mark already on the year. So
big country right here. Big country can touch one right here and just like take a limb out of a tree. I mean, just like he's playing wiffle ball.
Yeah, Trevor getting the nod today in his familiar spot from last year in the DH. Slow start in some part-time play coming into this. $167 with a pair of hits. Is looking for his first RBI of the year. But as I said, he's getting the nod today, and I think that just shows the trust and some of the versatility of the lineup with Brett Neffendorf.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty incredible to have a guy like that. I think Big Country hit 8 bombs as a freshman last year. One of them we taped off on Google Earth at West Virginia Tech. Hockey were there. You witnessed it. It went like 471 feet or something like astronomical. I'm not saying the jet stream didn't catch part of it, but still it was absolute no doubt off the bat. But just to have somebody coming off the bench, I think what limits him a little bit is just can't play a ton of positions, but absolute no doubt one of the most prolific young talents power-wise in the arsenal for IU Southeast.
Yeah, and one thing he does is he gives you a professional bat every time, as he's ahead 2-0 here, as now he's actually showing bunt, and that's something we've seen a lot for the Grenadiers this year, that tool. There's certain people that are just going to put it down, but a lot early when they're ahead in the count. A lot of show fake bunts, maybe trying to create chaos, as we saw the fake bunt and then the wild pitch, which allowed the runners to both score or scoot into scoring positions. So.
Yeah, something that is unique about the style of the Grenadiers in terms of moving forward is they will use weapons, offensively. It's not just, a very stock approach. They will squeeze. They will bunt and run. They will bunt for a hit. They will sack bunt. They're not afraid to do it, which
and a lot of different counts as well. So we will see what Trevor will do here as he awaits the 2-2 pitch from Reese. And the pitch. That one right back to him and kind of muffed a little bit, and that's going to be a fielder's choice. So not a hit, unfortunately, for Trevor Goodwin, but he will take being on base all the same. Now the bases are loaded for Ethan Burdett.
Yeah, Goody, another big guy that, I think he stole a couple of bases. I think last year, surprisingly, has a little bit of prowess, a little feather-footed big boy for the Grenadiers, getting down the line. Yeah, we're in a good spot right here.
Yeah, bases loaded, one out. That'll bring up the second baseman, Ethan Burdett, hitting .258 on the year, but does have 8 RBIs, and he would love to add to that total here.
It's a good spot for Birdie. He's a really good bat-to-ball guy. Compact, body type, smaller strike zone. Great, I think he struck out less than 10 times last year his entire junior college season. Just somebody that really make it tough on you. It'd be hard to turn double play on him if,
And that one's going to miss just outside. There's a close pitch there. We'll even things at 1-1.
Gritty player too. Really like Birdie. He's just a show up, shut up, and get it done type of guy, and I love that. Great addition for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, Burdett, Linton, Indiana native, has a little bit of that blue-collar coal mine mentality.
Shout out to Papa Real. He's in Linton right now, probably building something somewhere, trying to figure out how to make a YouTube video. I got him the whole YouTube video pack for his birthday. He's over here trying to figure out how to Bluetooth something, but by God, he could build a castle. So
we'll see if that blue collar mentality will transcend here as Burdett is behind in the count 1-2 as he waits the offering from Reese and the pitch. That one's going to be hit into right, and we'll see if that's going to be deep enough to score him. Mason coming home and a good throw. It's going to be cut off and not in time. So, good job there from Burdett to scratch across a run. And like we said, when you get people to third, you have to find ways to score them with less than 2 outs, right? You're going to obviously take with the bases loaded something that's down so more guys can go, but early on it's all about getting on the board and just being able to chip away. So that will bring up the first baseman for the Grenadiers, Max Flock, in his first at-bat of the afternoon.
Swaggy Max, the X factor, I think, for the Grenadiers lineup this year. A guy with a lot of mileage on him, well-traveled, junior college player, transfer from Georgetown College. Actually was their 3-hole hitter a couple of years ago. But somebody with some pop and experience. To have this guy down the lineup, I think, is incredibly valuable. But
Flock hitting in the 6-hole today, but does come in slashing 308, 487, 491. So he's got a pair of long balls on the year, and he would love to also add to his RBI total if possible. So that one's going to be a breaking ball from Reese. low in the dirt to even things at 1-1.
Like we mentioned earlier, the most probably left-handed laden lineup the Grenadiers have probably ever had. I mean, in 2019 we didn't even have a left-handed hitter. Well, Ben Berinda, shout out to Benny.
That was when he still thought he could hit right-handed.
Yeah. It's
half-hearted swing there from Flock.
Faced a lot of left-handed pitchers this year, the Grenadiers have, which has been a good test early for the lineup. But anxious to see Max grind it out right here and find a way to make something happen.
Yeah, Reese in his third start of the campaign, 6.55 ERA across 11 innings coming in. 7-5 strikeout to walk ratio, and love a punch out here. And that one's going to be fouled back into the screen.
Yeah, starting pitcher for Shawnee, number 7, Jacoby Reese. I mean, he's a big boy. I mean, he's a projectable body, big frame, throws downhill. He's shown the ability to mix a little bit.
Yeah, listed at 6'5", the Mansfield, Ohio native. So definitely a large frame on the mound, and it's going to be a breaking ball, and that's going to be hammered down the right field line, but well foul. So hung that one, got away with a mistake there, 1-2, but the runners will retreat as we'll sit here and have another one.
Anxious to see how Max's approach is here, him being a veteran, if they're going to come back to it and kind of do the old double cross, maybe a fake shake and throw the breaking ball again, or Max going to be ready to hit the heater.
Reese looks in, gets his sign as he is ready to deliver another 1-2 to Flock. And the pitch. That's going to be chopped in play, but they're in plenty of time to make the play is Warner. So they get one back, but the Grenadiers still trail as we head to the top of the second, 2-1 here in New Albany. The designated hitter for Shawnee State will lead off here in the top of the second. Number 36, Brock Kitchen. Kitchen coming into this one as he attacks the first pitch that's going to be fouled out of play. 250 on the year, and this is just his sixth game played. Looking for his first RBI, as he does have a hit on the season. So
Shafe wanted to find out what the kitchen was all about. First pitch got in his kitchen and made somewhat of a mess. We had a ball that disappears into the Narnia over the railroad tracks. We don't really know what's out there. That's why you got to go with a buddy when you're going to look for a ball.
It's definitely a buddy system for the pitchers when you're looking for foul balls here at Cutter Sports Complex. That's for sure. As that one's going to be fouled. Stayed in play, almost catches a piece of someone, as that's going to splash a puddle. As we do have some standing, it's the count is 1-2.
Yeah, there should be a mascot of like the Puddle Splashers somewhere in the Midwest for a college baseball team.
As good breaking ball there, but put in play softly to make the play is Burdett. Throw in plenty of time. So good start here to the second inning for Schaefer, as that now will bring up his counterpart, second baseman for Shawnee State, number 32, Warner.
Yeah, Warner, tough start to the year, but obviously it's early. But 9 punch outs in his first 32 at bats, hitting a $125. But I think the bottom of the lineup's always interesting. I think there's a lot of games won with just that, how you turn the lineup over. So
absolutely, as
sure Rob
Grenadiers have shown that even early this year with the bottom lineup producing pretty significantly for them in some key moments. But as you mentioned, down 0-2, now 1-2, as Warner is going to look to battle here.
Yeah, I was actually thinking at the break, just like Shafe, obviously his numbers kind of reflect it with a low 2 ERA. Shafe, pretty traditionally his problematic areas are the first inning. Which I would say for a lot of starters is the first inning, right?
I can agree.
Yeah, okay.
I've been there.
But once he gets in a rhythm, I mean, you better get him in while you can.
Absolutely, and a great pitch there is a breaking ball, and a good job from Murphy to keep that one in front as he'll make the throw down in plenty of time to Flock. So much better start for Schaefer here as it's 2 up and 2 down, and now that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, number 5, Tyler Lund.
Pitch like that can get something going. Catcher makes a good play. Obviously a wipeout pitch from Shafe and just keeping it in front of him. Very textbook, very just a fundamental play by the battery itself. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that.
And off to another quick start in this at-bat. And it's not going to last very long as that one's going to be lofted lazily over to Colin Long in left field, and he's going to be there to make the play. So a great response inning from Schaefer as he will retire the Bears in order. So we will head to the bottom half. Score still 2 Shawnee State, 1 IU Southeast here in New Albany. Grenadier catcher Logan Murphy will lead things off for IU Southeast in the bottom of the second inning.
Yeah, anxious to see Murphy this year. Coming from I guess a benchmark style program, Wabash Valley. Just played the College World Series last year, lost in the national championship game. Aaron Biddle actually used to coach in this conference at Brush University. Anxious to see him, have get a season underneath his belt and be able to have a chance to play more regularly, see what he's really capable of this year.
Yeah, coming in batting .250, does have an RBI on the year, so looking to still hit his stride offensively. As him and
it's tough early.
It is tough early, especially as a catcher.
Who wants to hit a brick with a wiffle ball bat? It's freezing. I know they've had some untraditional weather in terms of some pretty warm spells, but it's just not fun to hit early. I mean, you remember Poppy, Nico Lugo, used to take BP in a winter coat. We used to all kind of be like, what's going on? It's like, well, I mean, he's from the Caribbean, and like it is. I mean, mentally, it's hard to coach in it, more or less perform in it.
Absolutely is. Murphy's going to hit a weak fly out to right field, and he will be retired to lead off this inning, and that'll bring up the senior right fielder today for the Grenadiers, Braden Hazelwood.
I mean, it's hard to set the bench in an outdoor sport, spring sport in the Midwest. I mean, it's.
I think it's more hard to, as a pitcher who spent a lot of time watching more baseball than I played.
Yeah.
It's grueling, and I mean, so that'll be something that I think to keep note of today as we're playing too in some, I would say not ideal conditions. Definitely played in worse, but as you get later in the day when you start having to rely on some guys out of the bullpen, one, you got to stay locked in, which is tough to do when it's cold, but two, just physically being able to stay ready. So that could play a factor later on today.
Yeah, it's definitely not sitting the bench in volleyball, and it's just
climate control.
It's just hard. I mean, it's all around. It's tough on these guys. I don't think a lot of people realize. I mean, I know the parents here and the fans, and obviously our support staff. Shout out to Steven Oots, Amanda, Logan, all the people that man, it's a grind, but it's definitely worth it to see these guys. Put on a display of just their passion and efforts and persistence and dedication to the brand.
Yeah,
really.
It gives them an opportunity to learn a ton.
I mean, our guys are pretty good at it.
Yeah.
For a while, we've been pretty good for a long time.
Absolutely, as that's going to even things up. A good breaking ball there from Reese to run the count to 2-2 for Hazelwood.
I don't know, Reese. A lot of pitchers are backing up on him, already early, and that's never a great sign. But maybe that's his style.
As that one's going to be slashed foul and out of play. Hazelwood, one of the few remaining cats from that 21 World Series team that you were able to lead in that direction.
No, they led me. I was just there. I wrote the lineup and Major League out of meal. I didn't do much.
As he'll watch that one high 3-2. Hazelwood kind of flipping his defensive style this year as he played a lot of left field for us last year and is getting a lot of time in right as Mason White has shifted into center almost full time, it appears. As that one's going to be hit well to deep center. I don't know if he got enough of it. It doesn't look like he did. So that'll be caught by Tressler for the second out of the inning.
It's a good sign. When you're going to get probably 10 at-bats on the day, let's say, and you hope to get more, right? But, first at-bat to square one up. Obviously, this park is one of the biggest parks most of these guys are ever going to play in, especially on a day like today where it's humid out. It's weird to say humid when we're in, like we're in the winter, but it's just a very
damp day.
Yeah, damp, dreary day, to hit one on the screws, I mean, that ball would have been out of New Albany High School by 50 feet.
And first pitch swinging is calling long as he pops that one into the infield, and that's going to do it for the Grenadiers as they match the Bears and go down in order here in the second inning. So we will head to the top of the third. Score remains 2-1 Shawnee State. Lineup will turn over for the Bears in the top of the third inning as center fielder Nolan Tressler, is going to take a swing at that first pitch, and that's going to be fouled out of play.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really prevailed that I've noticed just kind of following the guys is just the tempo we play with. Is, hustle on and off, wearing uniform the right way, play the game the right way, just,
Yeah, and it's to me, even being a part of the program for as many years, it's noticeable, especially from a pitching standpoint. They don't throw the ball around, not around the horn. After every out, it's right back to the pitcher, like we're ready to go, which is, I think, something that has helped Schaefer early on. I think it pushes him to stay locked in and be ready to go, whereas, like you mentioned earlier, first innings can sometimes be difficult to try to get your rhythm and get into the game, whereas that kind of pushes you into you have to focus because we're ready to go.
Well, we lost we ended up tying for the conference championship regular season last year on a walk-off pitch clock violation.
As Tressler's going to slash that in for a leadoff hit into left field.
Which should end somebody's umpiring career, just for what it's worth.
Yeah, as we're in year 2 now, or year 3, but year 2 of the specific set of pitch clock rules.
Love it.
Are we going to have some kind of change? No, I think just the home plate umpire just finally putting that visit maybe into his book. Not quite sure what Brad was doing back there. But I ask myself that a lot for our conference assigner, Brad Wilson, as he called me this week. He's like, hey, I need you to get me a room. I was like, well, I'm going to need some information from you, Chief.
Yeah. No, Brad does a good job. And, just the loyalty he's shown to our conference by, kind of filling in and when the umpire assigner, there wasn't a vacancy, and filling in and doing a good job, and then kind of being shuffled around and coming back and really doing a good job. He's got a great.
Yeah, that one's going to be hit up the middle and a chance for 2, and they're going to turn it as a great turn there from Putnam to Burdette is going to erase the leadoff runner. As now he actually, so with that double play, so there will be 2-way, but Brad Wilson must have heard us talking about him. Charges that with the batter calling for time and it being granted, that is now an offensive conference with the new rules, so he's just marking that in his book. As first pitch breaking ball strike there to the first baseman, Snydak.
Yeah, going back to the pitch clock, I think that is probably one of the greatest advancements of modern baseball.
It's changed the game in a lot of different ways, kind of like you mentioned, with a game ending on it, and it increases the pace as we see here. A quick 1-2-3 inning now as the leadoff runner erased on that double play. So Schaefer bounced back, and we will come back. Score remains 2-1, Shawnee State. Grenadiers will turn over their lineup as well here in the third, as Slater Shield will lead off for IU Southeast. Slater 0 for 1 in his first at-bat, or in his one at-bat, rather. As Reese is back out for his third inning of work. And first pitch breaking ball in the dirt there.
Anxious to see how, in these situations, what they've learned in their first, plethora of games, how they make changes second time through the lineup. You look back at your seasons, you look at this, all these statistics, and most people don't, but, you go just the first thing is just, all the runs you scored all year in each frame, and you see, those, kind of gawky numbers stand out. It's okay, the third time through the lineup, you're toast, where some years it's the first inning, really propelled it or whatever it was, So
Absolutely.
Anxious to see, the identity that we, generate or we create as an offense. When are we going to be, known for striking?
Yeah, good job there by Mendoza to keep that one in front.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of.
I'm a big fan of catchers. Okay,
I'm a big fan of catchers that will block balls even with nobody on, because you don't want to get into those lazy habits, as obviously you would know far better than I.
It's just like second nature. It's like the ball's thrown to you, you catch it. So how do you catch it with your chest protector? You get it in front of it. Right? So, but just he's smooth, he's effortless. Just watch him throw down between innings. It's got some carry on it, and it's just he's quiet behind the dish.
And 3-1 is going to be hit sharply to short, but fielded there is Mejia, and throw in time to get Shield. So leadoff retired for IU Southeast, and that'll bring up Mason White.
I thought Mejia was going to get ate up by the 10th man here. It's like this.
That's one of the additional changes that, or it is a change, but focuses that Brett has had this year. Is he's come in and he's created a really good partnership with one of the superintendents of a golf course that's local, and Chris Rosio. And the field, especially this early, it's as green as it's ever been, and they have it short, so it's playing fast. It's in great condition for March 2nd.
Yeah, that's just like so when you go Jeff Ruby's and they bring out your appetizer and you're like, this is going to be an experience. You show up here, there's grass on the field. It's green. It's growing.
That one's chopped. Going to be a tough play, and they're going to call him safe, as the umpire may have got baited a little bit there, as I thought.
Tough call.
Thought Snydak got to the base before White, but alas, the only opinion that matters is the umpire's.
You're right, but just the call itself, he was it was a 1-foot call. Hey, we've umpired a lot of baseball, brother. We have put on hundreds of games in the summertime.
On this field, I've made that exact one-footed call probably before.
You're trying to dodge a play because you didn't realize it was going to be that fast.
Absolutely. So Cody Putnam up now. He'll watch a first pitch off speed in there for called strike one.
Really interesting. Take on the starting pitcher, Reese, going back to him, is just pitches backwards a lot. Big guy, 6'5". Kind of got Dontrell Willis vibes, and then we're, just spinning, breaking ball after breaking ball. Man, I felt like if you were 6'5", Hawk, you'd be signing an autograph for me right now.
Yeah, that definitely would have helped. Or if I was left-handed, that may have also helped.
Yeah.
Putnam quickly down in the count 0-2, as Reese is trying to either invoke a ground ball or will always take a strikeout. But that one's going to be smoked into the gap, and giving chase, and a good route there by Tressler to cut that one down, as I thought that had a chance to be extra bases. But alas, nothing happening there, as White will return to first. So 2 away now for the Grenadiers, and that'll bring up Trevor Goodwin, the designated hitter.
Yeah, great play. Good, it's really cool. My favorite place to watch a baseball game, I was a catcher, is always from the back, and I spent, decades of watching the game from the side, but just to see the first step off the bat, great route. There's just something about watching good players play, whether that's even if somebody's good at defense, maybe not good at offense. I'm not saying that Tressler's not, but just a really textbook play. That would, booger things up pretty quick. Hits the ball in the gap there. Mace can run. I mean, he's going to score from first. If it gets to the wall, and things can really.
Especially with the water, because you get into some of the rocky areas of the warning track, could be some standing spots. Absolutely good route from Tressler. As Goodwin will watch a breaking ball high.
I think the theme, as you're going to see as the day goes on, is these games are not going to be slugfest. These games are going to be, there may be a bloop and a blast from time to time. It's going to be a lot of just low lines, hard ground balls, small ball, dirt ball reads.
Not quite a dirt ball read, but kind of that small ball action where Mace going in action early, especially with the left-hander up. He saw him because out of the corner of his eye at least, and creates a bad pitch, and unable to corral it there was Mendoza. So another stolen base on the afternoon for White, and now he sets his cleanup hitter up with a 2-0 count and now in scoring position.
Come on, Big Country. I want to hear it from up here.
Want to hear the horn? And
great take.
Good eye there. Yeah,
great
absolutely.
Take. Great take.
Especially 2-0. It's easy, especially with 2 outs, to try to get a little big and try to put something away, because with 2 outs, not trying to just single them to death generally. So
limited reps though. It's a good take in a situation where you're kind of foaming at the mouth. 2 hitters count. It wasn't a bounce. It wasn't a bounce pass. It was borderline, I guess, for somebody you could bite on or try to cheat to the fastball and the hitters count. But with limited reps in the season and having a take like that is a great sign.
Yeah. It always seems that Trevor's at-bats are either ended on the first pitch after he swings, or he runs it to at least 3 balls and generally full. So the 3-1 offering from Reese to Goodwin will be ball 4, so no opportunity to run it full, but a great at-bat to draw a walk with 2 outs. And
take the bait. They're pitching around Trevor, to set the double play. You got a guy like Birdie up, who's going to make you earn it with 2 outs. I mean, he's going to put it in play. He's a guy that can run. I don't know. Maybe that fish may have bit the night crawler. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. So that'll, like you said, bring in Ethan Burdett. Burdett looking for his first hit of the afternoon. And first pitch to him is going to be in there for a called strike. Something I've kind of picked up on from Burdett is he's not the guy that has the same approach every time. He goes up there with a plan that is curated to the situation, and he's very astute. He watches the game in the dugout, right? So sometimes he's the guy that will jump on the first pitch and be really aggressive, but as you saw there, kind of just a little get me over. Didn't want anything about it. He's noticed a couple balls, breaking balls been low in the dirt, give opportunities maybe for his runners to scoot into scoring position, which you take that away if your first pitch swinging, especially with 2 outs. So not saying that's exactly what he is doing, but I've definitely noticed the trend of him. He mixes it up and he plays the game with what is calling for in that situation.
Yeah, you would expect that with a junior that's had some extensive mileage on him.
Is that going to be fair? No foul. So good offering there. He's tried to squeak that inside line, but everyone will return and we'll have a 1-2.
I thought we were going to have to give a shout-out to Splash Safari. So I was going to dive, and we were going to go, whoa, and, it's like, Coach, bring extra socks? No, I brought an extra outfit, yeah. I think shout-out to all the student-athletes. I know Robbie and, longtime friend Cody is no longer with us. God rest his soul. Shining a light on these guys that they just love it, man. I mean,
that one's going to run things even.
I mean, you got guys diving in a mud puddle, early in the year, and everybody's laughing and cheering. They're out here smiling their face. I mean, it's not ideal not be smiling in a couple innings when there's icicles hanging out their jersey. But, it's really cool to see just the love and passion, in display.
Yeah, and that one's going to be hit off the handle. It's got a chance to get down, and it is. And around third is White, and in there in plenty of time. So, and good heads up there from Goodwin as he was off on the going first to third. So, great 2-out RBI, as that has been a staple early on here for the Grenadiers. A lot of 2-out RBIs early season. So, good job from Burdett.
Yeah, great job from Burdett, but great job Trevor Goodwin going first to third, crack of the bat, 2 outs, not, having a glitch mentally, like, is it going to be down? There's 2 outs, man. The ball's hit, get moving. But, did not miss an opportunity to go head first slide and get the, the jersey dirty. I thought it would have been our first scorpion of 2024 where we try to touch our cleats to the back of our head as we move into a base.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, and you and I both know from last year that's a veteran improvement for Trevor Goodwin in that read. So that'll bring up another veteran in Max Flock as he'll watch first pitch strike. So
yeah, longtime great Woody Hunt at Cumberland University, one of the best coaches that ever coached college baseball, said, a good player is a guy that, like, knows what to do when the game's going. There's a lot of guys that know all the answers in the dugout, so seeing somebody that knows it like real time, makes a read, understands what needs to be done and does it. It's just that's a sign of the times for player development and kind of where you're at, on the measuring stick.
Yeah, so even count 1-1 to Flock. 2 outs for the Grenadiers, runners on the corners. We'll see, as we've noticed a lot with Brett Neffendorf's offense, we'll see if Birdie takes off, and he does. I called that one. And a good throw, and in there in plenty of time, and they weren't going for him at second anyway. So interesting decision there to
throw a ball to a base that nobody's covering, yet we have a below-average runner at third base, like he's going to double steal. I've seen it a lot in my career. It's not right or wrong. It's just a difference in opinions, but, a lot of things can go wrong there.
Yeah, so that one in there for a called strike to Flock, so he's behind in the count 1-2. And the pitch is going to be thrown into left field, and that's 2 runs. A good job there from Burdett to put himself into scoring position, and then immediately an answer from Flock to score 2, and the Grenadiers have their first lead in this one, 4-2.
Checking the box, 2 out RBIs. Those are daggers, But great job by the Grenadiers just finding a way to extend the inning with 2 outs and really, roll up their sleeves. And
we've seen that a lot this year. There's been various times, and we've made note of it even on the broadcast in our first few home games, is we'll go 2 quick outs, and then we'll put together 3 or 4 good at-bats in the row, score 1 to 3 runs, and that has been the difference in a lot of the games, and
it's the mark of a champion.
Absolutely, and the past 5 games, they have 4 wins, and at least 2 of them coming in comeback fashion, and a lot of those, especially that second game of the doubleheader against Huntington, as we've mentioned a couple times off air, a lot of 2-out RBIs and crawling back after a big deficit and just continuing to chip away, not giving away any at-bats, especially in a 7-inning game, which those were, which this is obviously a 9, but it's a good sign early to have that kind of perseverance with 2 outs. And first pitch is going to be hit high from Murphy, and back is the shortstop to put it away. So good job to scratch 3 across there with 2 outs. So the Grenadiers jump out to 4-2 as we will head to the top of the 4th with their first lead of the afternoon. Oaks set to lead off for the Bears as they now trail in this one 4-2. It'll be important half inning for Schaefer as team gives you the lead and throws up a crooked number that there's nothing you want more to keep the momentum rolling in your favor and not shift it back is throwing up a 0 right after a crooked number.
Got to. It starts with strike one, and then most importantly, it starts with getting the leadoff hitter out. Got to get the leadoff hitter out.
As quickly ahead 0-2 is Schaefer. As if I had a go-go gadget extendo arm, I was ready to make that play on that one straight back towards us.
Yeah, those days are over for me.
And that one hit into the hole a little bit, backhanded by Putnam, and a good strong throw as that one's going to retire Oaks.
Good play by Flock, too. Good job. That's a tweener. It's like, am I going to catch it or am I going to pick it? And really the focus and concentration it takes to really stay with that, make that play just to
Yeah, and that play, didn't look spectacular by any means, but especially with the field conditions, and you can see the different coloration in the dirt. So you have turfus here, you have some wet dirt there. A hard plant there to the backhand for Putnam isn't the easiest thing in your brain to not assume you're going to slip. So, and I think that shows that's definitely some growth for Cody Putnam as well. As he's really just taken on that, grinder type mentality rather than trying to worry about everything beforehand. So, some conversations I personally have had with him has kind of led him into developing personally and improving in that on the mindset thing.
I mean, KP is legendary here. He's just one of the best humans you're going to meet. Passionate, committed, positive, great human, great family. I could not be more happy for him. Seen him at shortstop. He's one of the best second basemen who's ever played at IU Southeast. He's done a good job. He's really a captain mentality, heading our infield. And him and Slater make it tough on the left side. Slater can play short, but having him at third, he's, got plenty of arm. And, it's crazy. He stole 60 bags in the prospect league. He's a third baseman, But, Slater could start center field for most teams, that we play.
Absolutely. As full count here to Zach Gasper. And the payoff going to be fouled off of Murphy, so we'll have another.
Nice player, Gasper. I like this kid. He's athletic, short, compact stroke.
One of the leading offensive threats for the Bears. Coming into this one, 357 batting average, 15 hits, got a 571 and a 460 on base.
With the old school Dave Collins closed stance.
And a great pitch there from Schaefer. As backdoor breaking ball is going to retire Gasper, so 2 away, nobody out here as that'll bring up the shortstop, Luis Mejia.
Physical young man.
Absolutely. 17 in your program, 26 today. As part of small college baseball, sometimes you have different numbers in different jerseys. As he'll watch first pitch fastball high from Schaefer. So that's one thing we always talk about. We've made a trend of playing University of Northwestern Ohio a lot early, and they have so many jerseys and different players in throughout their program and all the different levels that their programs will have
Can you imagine?
numbers on the jersey on the program. So that one's kind of unique, but good take there from Mejia as the count runs to 2-1. Yeah, I couldn't imagine having that many players in a program. They do a great job over there, though.
Oh, absolutely.
And the 2-1 pitch, another good breaking ball. That one swung on and missed to even things up.
Yeah, small college baseball coaches, there are some elite humans leading small college baseball programs.
And another good breaking ball from Schaefer to get Mejia swinging. So that's exactly what the Grenadiers needed after the crooked number like we talked about, Ben. So a quick 1-2-3 inning for Schaefer as the Grenadiers will head to bat here in the bottom of the fourth, leading 4-2. Brighton Hazelwood set to lead off for the Grenadiers in the bottom of the fourth as they look to expand now on their lead.
It's a box you got to check. You got to add to it.
As Hazelwood squares to bunt, but nothing doing, and he'll take that for a called strike.
I think that's my favorite part, probably looking back on all the time I spent in the uniform, is just watching an identity. In 2021 or 2022, we returned 21 out of our 25 on the postseason roster, and like they were all different. They were getting ready to graduate. Their minds were different, getting engaged, or looking at jobs, or.
That one is a good changeup there from Reese to get Hazelwood swinging for the first out.
Yeah, just seeing a team every year, establish, create, personify an identity. So that's what I'm excited to see about. I missed that.
Yeah, Colin Long now getting his second at bat here in this ball game. And he's going to actually lay out a bunt, and that's going to be a good one. Going to be a tough play and a good one there from Reese, as he's going to field that one barehanded to get Long in plenty of time. So couple quick outs for the Shawnee State left-hander, and that'll turn the lineup over for the Grenadiers with Shield.
Let's see if they're the 95 Braves. Let's see if they're nothing but 2 outs and ninth-inning comebacks.
That reminds me a lot of our, at the time, record-setting team in 2016, where I promise you it's like no one was checked into the game until the 7th inning back when
Snowman
we played.
in the 8th, Snowman in the 9th. It's like, it's time to win.
And that's back when we played 4 7-game series.
Yeah. Whoa.
So we were getting to the 7th inning like, oh, we need to score 4 runs now? Okay.
Like you went to a music festival every weekend after a 4-game set. I mean, it was like.
It was brutal. But, hey, we went 27-1 in conference that year. So
we lost. That's something I wanted to mention earlier, that we didn't get to touch on pregame is, it's easy to overlook this series, but this series could, it's like there's never been a team in our conference undefeated. We lost a game.
West Virginia Tech the second weekend of the year.
Yeah, and it's like you look back on it, or you could have been, you're down at the end of the season, and it's a dead heat to win the conference for an automatic bid, and you gave one away or something, or last year against Point Park, we had them pretty much buttoned up for. Or, IU Kokomo in 2022, I think it was.
As that one hit right on the screws by Shield, but a good play there from Mejia.
Flashing the leather.
Flashing the leather, absolutely. So, and we'll get back and we'll button up that story in the next half, kind of talk about some of the developments with, especially the differences in the conference. We'll kind of retouch on those, especially some of the bids and kind of how early season can affect as we will head to the top of the 5th. Score here in New Albany is 4-2 IU Southeast. It will be Kitchen here, the designated hitter for Shawnee State, leading off in the top of the 5th.
See what he's cooking here, leading off. That's what we got. Maybe it's Jersey Mike's.
I hope so, because I've got Jersey Mike's waiting on me again between innings, or between games.
$30 foot of sub.
As first pitch from Schaefer, who's back out, and his 5th inning of work is going to be low for ball 1.
It's like, how did Jersey Mike's survive the $5 foot long phase? I mean, because you get a foot long from there, and it's like, I mean, it's a full per diem meal. I mean,
As it appears that Kitchen's going to be granted time. And that's going to be another offensive conference charged as part of the pace of play rules in college baseball. And Schaefer tried to get going a little too quick, so now the pace of play rules become neglecting the pace of play.
Well, that used to be a staple before we had pace of play rules, where it was time, and it just got to where it's like a human rain delay.
Yeah, that one's going to miss low as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a learning experience last year, especially with getting the umpires to have that communication of what they understood the rules to be, because they weren't really well publicized, as that one's going to be in their first strike to Kitchen. So that, when I was coaching first base last year, my first thing I did every time I ran down to first base was, we're going to have this conversation about the pitch clock so I can tell my guys what you're going to interpret it as. Mm-hmm. But it really made a great difference in terms of the pace, as that one's going to be chopped softly to Burdette and an easy play there to retire Kitchen.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else when you're trying to advance an initiative. It's takes time. Everybody, you got umpires working together that may have not worked together, or you cross over. Maybe we can play in different conferences, other conferences. You go down south. It's like we get to the World Series in 2021, and it was like, that's a warning. It was like, there was like 6 umpires like pointing at us. It's like, what the?
Yeah, gunpoint.
It felt very disorienting.
And a good pitch there, cut on and missed.
But it's like any well executed initiative. Once it does set in, it's definitely improved the game.
And another called strike there to Warner. So behind in the count, 1-2.
It's not banana ball, but it's our version.
That one's going to be lofted down the line. Is that going to be fair? It is, and that one's going to kind of stick a little bit, but played it pretty well as Hazelwood out and right. So it's going to be a 1-out double down the line for Warner, as the Bears have their first run in about 2.5 innings. First base runner, rather.
Something I really appreciated about being a catcher, I just kind of remembered it, is the driest part on the field's got to be home plate. That's where the umpire stands. So it's always nice to know that
you're not going to be in soup.
Yeah.
So brings up the left fielder, Tyler Lund, for Shawnee State, as he looks to turn over the lineup for the Bears. 1 out here, runner on second. His first pitch is going to be in there for a called strike.
Shaves. Got the banger going.
And some action down in Shawnee State bullpen as well, as I check down the right field line. So we'll see if they're looking to make a change in this next half. Or,
can you believe that we used to not wear helmets coaching the bases?
No, I can't.
And believe it or not, as primitive and archaic as that conversation is, it feels like now, but like when I did coach the bases, I would forget my hat, my helmet all the time. People were like, "What are you doing?" It's like, this never happened in my life. But
0-2 here to Lund. Schaefer's looking for the second out, and he's going to get it backwards K. So a good pitch there from Schaefer. Retires Lund, and
it's tough. That's one of those pitches where you think the count's lopsided. He's going to bounce one, and he just throws a heater right down the middle. And you're just like, whoops.
You're not ready for the best pitch you've seen all at bat.
Yeah, I love it.
Lineup turns over to Nolan Tressler, 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Base hit into left, his last at bat.
Good hitter here. Down decks a right-hander.
A great breaking ball there from Schaefer, as that one kind of dropped from the moon. He's usually got a more power slider, and that one looked overhand breaking ball-esque. So maybe mixing things up a little bit.
Got some feel for the spin. I watched him from the back against Indiana Wesleyan a couple weeks ago, and I say the back, I mean behind home plate. And he's developed another breaking ball. He's got 2 different versions of it, and his off speed's no joke. His changeup's plus, his breaking stuff's plus. Really makes that, a low 90s offering look pretty hoppy if used right.
Absolutely. So 1-1 count to Tressler. That one's going to be fouled high and backing out of play.
It's proof. Hitter's pitch up in the zone. It's not above the zone, but just, it really can't get on time because it's so blurry from, getting pitched backwards.
Schaefer gets his sign off the wristband. It's a new development for the Grenadiers this year as he looks to deliver a 1-2. Cut on and miss. Great change up there from Schaefer to not allow that double down the line to come to fruition as far as the run goes. So the Grenadiers retain their lead 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the fifth here in New Albany. Mason White set to lead things off for the Grenadiers in the bottom of the fifth, but we do have a new pitcher for Shawnee State. It is number 14, Ethan Eisen. Eisen comes in. This will be his sixth appearance on the year, his second relief appearance, rather.
I like
early season, boasting a 17.78 ERA across 13 2/3 innings. So looking to right his ship a little bit here in a tough battle when your first guy you're going to face is the RBI leader in the conference in Mason White, as the first pitch he sees is swung on and missed at.
Kind of surprising. Guy comes out of the pen, rears back, and throws the heater really right by him twice.
Yeah, as that one kind of handcuffed him a little bit.
This can turn the season around for a guy. Come out, long relief, not really the most ideal spot to be in. Come out here, and then you're facing, one of the heads of the snake in the conference, and you just blow two heaters by him like, okay, I'm good. Or hitting's really hard.
Yeah. I haven't done it since I was 16 years old, so I'm just going to go hitting's really hard.
I'll say this. It's like, let's go ride a bull for 8 seconds. That's like hitting the baseball. It's definitely tough. And having your shirt tucked in the whole time.
0-2 pitch here. That one's going to miss well outside.
This is where I find it really interesting all the years. It's like you blow two fastballs by him.
Fouls the third one back.
And now fouls the third one back. But now we're going to kind of get like cute with it. Why?
1-2 from Eisen. Oh, that's going to be maybe a cutter or something, but pulled nonetheless, and going to be to the backstop to even it up at 2-2.
And something else to add on that, with going back to the umpires, I've seen a lot of hit by pitches this year, and I have not seen across the board in college baseball where they're calling hitters back to the box as much. Where like it's kind of migrating back to where like the pitch clock is a benchmark now. Where I think the hit by pitch it's just flat dangerous by
that one thrown
cooked,
out the barrel, and that's going to
cooked.
be in the gap off the wall, almost snuck out of here. So that's going to be a leadoff double for White.
He's a man.
Let's see if I can do some
6.
quick math. That's going to be his 6th double of the year, so that's going to be his 13th extra base hit. And a good start there with 2 strikes. I mean, off his front foot, just throws the barrel out. That just shows you the kind of athlete and the strength that Mason White has.
He's a man.
As most people are probably looking at just trying to beat the shortstop with a swing like that. He's hitting that off the top of the wall. But that will turn things over to Cody Putnam here with a runner in scoring position.
Let's talk about Mason. In 2022, he was out that whole season, but to think about having him in the lineup in 2022 with pretty much your whole World Series lineup back, Weesty, DiCello, Tanksley, Romero, Boxer, all these guys, and then if you could have had Mason White, I mean, we always talk about like, what if we had like an all-star team of every player we've had? It's like, but I mean, that was like not that unrealistic because he was in the same time frame. It's just, but I'm so proud of Mason. He's a great human and great player.
And second pitch is going to miss high and inside to Putnam. Count 2-0.
It's cool to see this like little combo. Me and Brett talked about one day at breakfast, like Mason and KP kind of tucked together. They played together for a long time and great friends, and I don't know, a lot of chemistry between these two guys in the lineup.
Absolutely. Is that one going to be in there for a called strike? So Eisen looking to battle back here and try to find his first out of the inning. Count 2-1. That one's going to be fouled back out of play. So
KP sitting on that, 2-1 count. Guy sneaks a fastball by him 2-0. Whether it was a take sign from the dugout or whatever, nobody knows. But 2-1, trying to like flip one in there, and he just missed it.
Yeah, count 2-2. So Eisen doing a good job getting back to 2 strikes. Putnam looking for some of the same success that White had, and that's going to be a breaking ball and a good one, but that's going to miss outside. I think a little too high and off the plate.
Eisen's got some different shapes to the breaking ball. Showed a little bit of a cutter. That one's a little more of a
firm slider.
Yeah, tight slider. He's kind of throwing a little more of a slurvy breaking ball.
So full count here to Putnam. And the payoff pitch.
That may have been his problem. Some guys have too many things. It's like they can't command a fastball yet. They're the first to tell you they've got 5 pitches.
Well, I mean, especially coming out of the pen. Now, granted, Eisen does have about 4 starts on the year. So maybe some, because you always used to preach, I know to us, you have to have that third pitch to be able to throw if you're going to start right. And that was something that helped me really limit what I was trying to work on coming out of the pen, as that one's going to be fouled out of play as well to extend that bat here for KP. So doing a good job. I really just simplified it. It's like, all right, I have a sludder, we'll call it, where I kind of have some feel with the spin and change speeds. But really, outside of that, it was just fastball. Because
and let's define that. What's a sludder? It's the blend between a cutter and a slider.
And it was something that
I know we've got thousands of listeners today. We had to get through game day with Lee Corso and everybody in the park.
A great 2 strike swing, rather, to put that in front of the right fielder, and that may be the first time I've seen Joe Niederman actually hold somebody up at third this year.
Joe is down 20, and, buddy, he was in position.
Yeah, he
like teleported to that spot. Did you see it? It was like he just was like a flash.
So, especially with the damp conditions, I definitely would have thought we may have saw a
maybe
send
Joe's
there.
in spikes. Maybe he's Bobby Cox style. Maybe he's in spikes because he got in position there. I mean, I thought it was going to be like a car wreck over here between him and Mason White, 2 grown men.
Yeah, large individuals. So designated hitter now.
Shout out to Tippy Toe Joe, the most famous grenadier of all time. I love you, Joe. Thanks for all you do.
Trevor Goodwin getting another crack at it here as he'll watch first pitch in there for a strike.
Trev's umpiring. He agreed with the umpire there. I love to see that. Love to see hitters that can play and umpire at the same time. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, going back to having
off goes KP as he's going to be cut down. Wasn't a great throw, and that Mejia was actually honestly in front of second base and had so much time to go get him on the back end. So I don't know if maybe a slip from Putnam or what, but that's going to be the first out here.
So that's interesting. It's like if you're going to do that, then why not go ahead and send Mason to the plate? If you're going to try to take an extra base, why not take it on the previous play? You've got a lead. What the odds of somebody getting thrown out? I mean, Mason or Braden Hazelwood, is flashing low 90s from right field, and we cut it off. But then obviously, just like that, with Trevor going down swinging there to get to 2 outs, it just kind of, I mean, you can do that with a lead. I mean, that's the best part. It's like you can go out and buy your favorite vehicle if you've got stacks in the bank, right? You can afford to. But then again, momentum is the most precious resource in not only conference series, but, big games like this.
Yeah, so now that'll bring up Ethan Burdett. Mason White still on third base, but 2 away for the Grenadiers. So a good bounce back from Eisen as he throws 3 pitches right by Trevor Goodwin to get now the second out of the inning. So let's see if Burdett can do it again as far as extending the inning with 2 outs and try to get himself an RBI.
Yeah, I mean, Birdie is the guy. Shout out to Linton, Indiana. Jake Harden is the head baseball coach at Linton High School, former IU South.
It's going to be a tough play for Mejia as Burdett's. Oh, and he's going to be called safe as the ball was not picked cleanly, and I think he probably would have beaten that out anyway. So that's going to be a base hit and an RBI there for Burdett as a tough play for Mejia. And just like that, another 2-out RBI for the Grenadiers and more opportunities as that'll bring up the dangerous first baseman, Max Flock.
Birdie in the 5-hole, man, it's crazy.
He's not your traditional prowess of a 5-hole hitter, right? But he does the job, and it's what you want when you're going to have your.
He's a landmine, though, man.
Absolutely.
It's pretty small, it's hidden, but it can do some damage. I mean, he's a great player.
Flock will watch the first pitch in there for a strike.
Fun fact: Ethan Burdett went to Shackamack High School, that was where my mother taught when I was a kid. She taught first grade there.
And second pitch cut on missed.
It's a small world after all.
Their Shackamack's athletic director, Dylan Collins, is a roommate of my best friends that played at Vincent. So a lot of connections into that area and a lot of good people from there. As that one's hit hard, but going to be fielded cleanly by the second baseman, Warner, and makes the throw in plenty of time. So nothing else going for the Grenadiers with 2 outs, but Burdett is able to score Mason from third, so the lead grows to 3 as the Grenadiers will go to the top of the 6th, leading 5-2. Leading off for Shawnee State in the top of the 6th inning is going to be the catcher, Mendoza.
Yeah, we were just sharing a really, really cool story off air about in 2017 we had, the pitchers randomly went out one night and got this My Little Pony backpack, and the pitcher gave up the last home run, as it kind of transcended through the season had to carry the My Little Pony backpack. But in the My Little Pony backpack was a hodgepodge of just like snacks and gummy bears. And during the game, we would have this thing where guys would say, buy in, and everybody would grab like a gummy worm and eat it. But, it sounds funny, but, when you win, 48 games or whatever that year, I mean, it's like those are the things that just, we've had the Rally Monkey, the My Little Pony back. I mean, there's been the Mojo. I mean, so many different little.
Good breaking ball there from Schaefer and a good play there from Murphy to make sure he gets the out. Has good leadoff punch out there to Mendoza, and that'll bring up Snidak.
Yeah, just good little, subplots to, just there's so many things to go. That's what, when you look at a championship ring or a championship effort, everybody sees the ring or the hardware or the pictures of the post, but what you see when you were in it was you just see relationships. You see stories. You see, oh man, the tarp pulls. Hockey lived it like you get back from a road trip. One of my staples was in my career was you get back from road trip at 11 o'clock at night, but we got weights tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I mean, it's like and I don't know if all teams do that, but that was just us. Like nobody does that, but we do. And nobody at the end of the season when there's 198 teams to start the season and there's 15, there's 10 left. It's like that's the point. It's hard, not everybody gets to be in that conversation. So I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's.
I think you said it best. Like those are some of the things that transcend. Some of the pictures is like you see it in the background, and that's a conversation because as a pitcher, we watch more baseball as I mentioned earlier than we ever play.
Remember the Grinny Awards?
Oh yeah.
We had a legit little miniature Oscars ceremony after a game and
behind the dugout.
Yeah, all
the Mamarazzi.
You're talking 100 people staying and watching red Solo cups with my son would say Ouija, little like Luigi. He loves Mario and Luigi, but just random little little origami puppets on top of it. They're I don't know.
Absolutely, as that one fouled away is a good battle here from Snidak.
Remember Jack Drew on the bus when we did the most likely to, or we did just
announcing them on the way back from a road trip, and those are the stories. We have a little consortium as that one's going to be smoked into right. So a great battle there from Snidak as he's able to toss that one into right field for a base knock.
Man. That's what I miss.
Yeah, and we have a little consortium of that group that gets together every summer, and those stories never get old being retold. And Jack Drew is one of those people. It's and you've touched on a couple of the current players, but great human beings, right? Great families, and that's what makes part of this place special. And the culture transcends because the people and the stories and just everything that it means to be, a Grenadier, especially from a baseball perspective, right? That's the only one that I can speak to from a personal base. It's those are the things that is what is special about here.
Yeah, but what adds to that is what makes it more special is what you speak to is the epitome of. Like I told Brett when he first got the job, you're going to look outside of a game and see this random person standing next to your dugout right outside the the netting and be like, who is that? Dude, it's an alumni. It's I was at the post office the other day in Charlestown, Indiana, and met a guy who got the first ever hit at IU Southeast baseball history. I literally gave away my 6th Grenadier hat of the year, just it's yours. And he's like, well, it's broken. It's dude, it's
it's what I got.
Yeah, it's but I don't know, man. That's what makes it special. And I think that's really my purpose, really for any person leading any initiative, whether it's a company, a university, is that sense of community. If that's going to withstand the storms of time, it's got to be rooted, and I think it's rooted in culture and tradition, and obviously, but yeah, no, it's special for sure.
Absolutely. As Eric Oakes here with a 2-2 count, Schaefer looking for a double play ball. As that one's going to be hit high into left center, converging our Mason and Colin. As Mason's going to take charge for the second out.
Can't argue with that. You got 6'1", 230 pounds running at you. It's
that's an easy
give him
deferral.
the right away.
So brings up now the right fielder for Shawnee State, Gasper. And I think one of the, as we're kind of just buttoning up on that piece a little bit there, Real, is gives us an opportunity, people that, wore the threads, and that one's going to be hit to Burdett, and he's going to make the play over to first very easily and in time. But one of those things that gives us an opportunity as an alumni to be able to have an opportunity like this to come back and continue to connect the times over the classes and the eras of baseball. So that will be a pretty uneventful top half of the sixth for the Grenadiers. So they will go to the bottom half looking to extend their lead as it is still 5-2. Catcher for your Grenadiers, Logan Murphy, will step in to lead off things in the bottom of the sixth. Murphy so far 0 for 2 on the day, looking for his first hit. And back out for his second inning of work is Ethan Eisen. And that first pitch is going to be smoked to right, but
swing. There
to make the play is Gasper, as that one hit right on the screws, but just to the right of the right fielder. So good pitcher's best friend there for Eisen, a first pitch out, as that'll bring up the Grenadier right fielder, Braden Hazelwood. Hazelwood also looking for his first hit. And him swinging on the first pitch as well. Fouls it off the screen.
Going back to talking about the culture tradition here, but I think I saw it in a lot of the old timers at the farm growing up, just old men sitting around, the joy it brought, talking about their favorite hunting story, or the time where, somebody thought the boat was hooked up to the trailer, and instead of letting the boat out, they took the trailer off the boat, off the truck, and it rolled it. It's like a Bill Dance story, like rolled in the lake. It's like, but these memories only intensify like a storm later in life. They bring you so much joy, and you get all these guys back together over all these years, and like we saw at the ring ceremony, they talked about a melt, and I didn't know. I mean, and then it was like standing room only. It's like and it's not because of me. They're not there to see me. They're there to see their teammates. Like, that's why, these Coach of the Year awards are, really eyewash to me. It's like the guys play for the guy next to them. They don't play for a coach. I mean, nobody's. Yeah, Phil Jackson, you're a great coach, but I mean, Kobe wanted to be one of the best of all time. For Kobe, he wanted to win for himself, the team, the city. It wasn't like he wanted to win for Phil Jackson.
Absolutely. And the 2-2 pitch to Hazelwood. Going to be a half-hearted swing, as the umpire is going to say he went around. So it's going to be strike 3 and a quick second out for the Grenadiers, as Colin Long will get another crack at it here.
Yeah, these are innings you want back. We started off with we're swinging first pitch. We hit one on the screws. Awesome. Send a message. And then, we kind of give some – I mean, this is where when you get in the postseason, I mean, every single out, every single at-bat, every single pitch, it matters, man. It matters. I mean –
And first pitch swinging there and weakly grounded to short. Mejia shorts his throw, so that's going to be A base runner with 2 outs here for the Grenadiers as Long is aboard via the E6.
It's one thing we got going for us. I think that, U of L has really proven at the Division I level is just we can be dynamic. We can hit for power. We can run. We can bunt. We can bunt a guy over, or we can hit a leadoff, or we can hit a double and drive him in, or we can, play for 1 run, play for a big inning. That's pretty cool.
Well, and with the lineup the way that, Brett Neffendorf has it kind of constructed, 1 through 9 with maybe the hesitation at designated hitter today, like they're all be able to run. So challenging the defense, limiting those strikeouts as Slater Shields is going to wear that one off of his belt.
To face Mason White.
To give you about the toughest at bat you're going to have today.
Please.
But
this is what I showed up for.
All of these situations, it's about making the other team make the plays, right? I think there's a lot of time, and we used to talk about this. It's amateur baseball, right? Sometimes you give the opponent a little too much credit, right? So from like a pitching perspective, or a hitting perspective, make them field it. It's still amateur baseball. It's not guaranteed they're going to make it out.
It's just who fails the least is who wins. Like the scoreboard, it shows all the positives, but really it should be the opposite. The highest amount of negatives on the scoreboard should win. It shouldn't be like, well, we've got 5-2. We've got 5, they got 2. It should be like, well,
we didn't make these mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Like the lowest number of mistakes should win this game because it's just all based purely on failure.
Absolutely. So 0-1 here to White, and he's looking to add to his conference-leading RBI total.
I just want to see Mace just cook one over a light pole right now. I want to see him beat my chest. I don't know. It's not. I mean, I can do that now. I'm not a catcher. I can,
get a little more.
I can
excited.
buy in with the gummy worms that I'm actually eating right now. Yeah, I am.
Eisen looks to deliver the 1-1 to White. That one's going to be outside. 2-1.
Let him.
Not the guy you want to fall behind in this situation.
I just want it to. I wish it was 3-0 and just let him swing like we did last year a couple times. Sometimes he'd miss hit, but sometimes he would
hit one off the bus at Point Park.
Just you can't. You could hear that sound off the bat from New Albany High School.
Absolutely. So the 2-1 here. That one's cut on and missed. So a good pitch there from Eisen. Not given in to the
pitch.
Grenadier slugger White. So count is even 2-2 here with 2 outs and 2 on. All the
a little
twos.
bit of a cheat swing from Mason right there, 2-1, looking to hook something, and I'm really thankful that it actually swung and missed because he would have mishit it.
And a good pitch there from Eisen, as that is not going to come to fruition for the Grenadiers. So good job by the right-hander from Shawnee State. So we head to the top of the 7th now. The score remains 5-2 IU Southeast. Shawnee State going to turn to a pinch hitter here. That'll be Ryan Scott in place of Luis Mejia. As Schaefer back out for the top of the 7th, and that's going to be
the go-to.
An absolute hammer for strike one.
I'm interested to see what his pitch count is. I mean, being in the 7th inning, really just cruising. of look like Nostradamus over here, like we said in the first inning. That's probably all you're going to get from him. And it's like, since then, it's been like that.
Schaefer right around 80. This will be his 81st pitch, it does appear. So through 6 plus now. Looking to at least get through the 7th. And a good breaking ball there, but held off was Scott. So good job there. Straight off the bench to not offer that. That's a devastating break ball
I actually thought that. Like, this kid is locked in.
And that one's going to be slashed foul out of play.
Yeah.
So putting up a good fight straight from the bench is Scott.
Talk about an art. I mean, man. Sit around like we talked about earlier, with your hands in your pockets, maybe eating a gummy bear, whatever. But, go out there and face a guy like Shafe, who's conference pitcher of the year type of profile. He's an ace. And to go out there and have, ready to hit, ready to swing. Obviously, threw him a banger first pitch, got ahead, but then to lay off the sharp break him all in the dirt in here to, fight and battle, get the count, to 2-2. Make Shafe work, run up his pitch count, get to the pin.
Yeah, there's a changeup there, pulled and in the dirt. So, as you said, a good at bat here from
life from Shawnee over here. Everything but a drum set. We're getting going.
And that one fouled off the screen. So, I believe going to be the 7th pitch of the at bat upcoming for.
What do you got,
Scott?
What we got? I mean, what are you thinking here? 3-2, 7th pitch of the
I think
at bat.
you go heater.
I think you go breaking ball. Nope.
I was right, but you should have been. So that's going to be a good at bat there from Scott, as that'll be a single right up the middle and a leadoff base runner for Shawnee State. Yeah, good piece of hitting there.
It just shows how dominant Shafe has been. They get the leadoff single. Shawnee. I mean, credit to the pinch hitter. I mean, great job off the bench. I mean, just the focus and concentration it takes to put together that at bat when you're pretty much a bystander. For this part of the series so far, but to do that, but just the momentum you feel just getting the leadoff guy on base. It's been so tough against Shafe, and when you do, he nixes it pretty quick.
And that'll bring up Kitchens as he's going to square to bunt, and that one is going to be bunted foul.
Something to bring up. I actually almost talked about this couple of things. I hadn't seen any type of, offensive weaponry really been shown. Bunt, hit and run, just even like the idea of it. Sometimes just the idea that you can do it is you can weaponize that, right? So
we'll see what Kitchen does here as he's going to square around again and a pick-off attempt, but back in plenty of time with Scott. So
this is where things can get interesting because, you got a guy like Kitchen who really haven't seen him do much, but how's he run? Somebody, it's kind of a slick track. You've got a 3-run lead. Get the out. If they want to give away an out in the last,
especially looking at 7, 8, 9 in the order.
Yeah, last third of the game.
Bunted straight to Shield, and he'll make the play in plenty of time. So
that's a great sign from the Grenadiers. That right there is how you win games. It's not we can't let them score another run. It's like, okay, we're winning by 3 runs. We just don't want them to be able to bring the tying run to the plate. Or, start the Barnum and Bailey circus act where the ball's getting tossed around. Our guys are trying to turn a double play there. Like, that's being greedy. Where Slater, being a true veteran, a benchmark of this program, comes in, sets his feet, accurate throw, just, I don't know.
Yeah. And that'll bring up Warner now, who is 1 for 2. And he'll watch strike 1. A good pitch there from Schaefer.
Yeah, Shafe. It's early in the year. I know he's had let me see here. He has had 4 starts. He's thrown quite a bit of competitive. He's faced 88 batters this season coming into this game, but he's probably reaching near the end of his appearance. But he looks good. He looks sharp. I think it'd be nice to see it turned over to the bullpen.
Yes, it doesn't appear anyone at least throwing live on the mound in the Grenadier bullpen, so at least for the time being, this one is going to be left to Schaefer.
I mean, we could go like 70 style, and he's going to go CG every game.
As that one's going to be hit on the screws, and that's going to be an RBI for Warner, his second hit of the day. And a good job by White to get that back in quickly and keep the double play in order. As they're, like you said, life from Shawnee State now, as that's the first run since the first inning for them. Mm-hmm. And they cut into this lead.
Great call by Rob. Going with a new, fresh face off the bench, giving him a competitive spark, which his pinch hitter did. Executed perfect sacrifice bunt and then timely hitting by the Bears.
And that'll bring up Tyler Lund now. He's going to swing at his first pitch, and that's going to be hit to Burdette, and that's going to be not a double play. Unable to hang on to it at first is Flock.
May want to add in not running into a tag at practice next week. Hawk, we did. I have speared you over there at first base, and it's like, you freeze on the line drive, you don't run into a tag, and then they've done it back to back or 2 of the last 3 innings.
So that turns the lineup over. Back to Tressler, who's had a decent day, especially on both sides of the ball for Shawnee State. And first pitch to him, a good breaking ball from Schaefer.
Big moment in the game, and I'm coming from a manager's point of view. It's like this is the last time you could have to face, the top or the meat of the order. So it's really important that no free bases, keep the lineup in order here.
And that one's going to be hit off the end a little bit. Coming in is long, but he's going to be there in plenty of time. So nice. Good bounce back there from Schaefer after Shawnee State scratches a run. But the Grenadiers still lead 5-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th here in New Albany. Cody Putnam set to lead off for the Grenadiers.
With the Gen Z theme song.
As we comment his above-average walk-up music. Eisen back out.
This is where you can really flex on somebody. You see a little spark. You really, the Grenadiers have a chance to
extinguish the spark.
Yeah, like really kind of like flex on them the first series, and they're new to the conference. Hey, this is I guess on paper been our conference, and this is what it looks like. I mean, it's just you can dash some hopes just in how you respond and react to
the ebbs and flows of momentum. And as a good breaking ball, that's going to miss outside, however.
Ison's done a great job.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, outside of his the first batter, which was Mason White, he's really settled in. He's attacked the zone and, like you said, done a good job. And he did go around, says the first base umpire, so that'll even things up at 2-2.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, 6'3", great build. He's got the ability to shape some pitches. He's done a really good job. I mean, I know when I talked to Rob last night, they've had a tougher schedule than he would like in a transition year, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, I like their team. It's a tough job your first year.
Yeah, the payoff pitch here to Putnam, 3-2. That's going to miss high, so lead-off walk for Cody Putnam.
And I want to add this: it's not a tough job your first year because you don't want to coach the players you have. It's just it's like even with Brett, you have to figure out where to plug and match up and
where to park.
It's like if you bat your 9-hole and the 4-hole in the big game, it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be a tough day. So you got to just know where everybody goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning that has to happen for both players and coaches whenever you take over a team. So that'll bring up Trevor Goodwin here as he's going to bunt. That's the first bunt I've ever seen Trevor Goodwin get down, and it's a good one, honestly, and that's going to be a tough play, and Eisen's going to make it. So a good sack bunt there from Trevor Goodwin.
Yeah, I'm just, really thankful that the ball didn't take Snidak up the line, because if Trevor Goodman would have ran into you, it'd have been like running into a layout freezer. I mean, it'd have been like, here comes a piano down a staircase. But thank
yeah, so a good play from Eisen to get Goodwin.
Better bunt by Goodwin. That was like, whoa, this guy's a unicorn. I mean, this was
well, that'll bring up Ethan Burdett again, and he's going to wear that almost off that's upper shoulder. I don't think it caught him quite in the neck, so
that's impressive in itself. It's just that's a small target to hit.
But that'll put runners at first and second for Max Flock. Flock kind of in a little bit of a lull.
Yeah, but
does have a hit today, but would love to really drive a ball. And
I think this is where the big swing comes in. I don't mean to interrupt you, but he drove one the other way. I think his last at bat or the bat before, line drive to left field. But this is where you may be able to get one middle in because they saw you go the other way early, and you big fly right here.
Yeah, and pretty healthy hack at that first one as it's backing out of play. Say, Flock started off absolutely scorching. He's cooled off a little bit, but would love to get back to that power threat he was in that first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. That one's going to be off speed there, maybe a change up in there for strike two. Say a big at bat here for the Grenadiers as you would love to scratch across another. Especially if you can get that done with less than 2 outs, and that one's going to miss just high.
It's a great pitch. The old freeze pitch, or it's like everybody's like all three of them or four pitch, ball strike, flip a coin, let's go. Good call for the home team.
And now the 1-2 pitch. Cut on and missed. A good change up there by Eisen. That'll bring up Logan Murphy now with 2 away. And runners on first and second still. So,
one of my biggest pet peeves, and you know what it's going to be. It's going to be a catcher on deck warming up in his shin guards. Something I would love to see brought in like the pitch clock. Let's say if you're a catcher and you're on deck waiting to hit, I don't care how many outs there are, your shin guards are not on your legs. Show me a minor leaguer that does that, and I'll show you, I guess, a fairy tale.
And a good first pitch breaking ball there by Eisen. So off to a bit of a shaky start this inning, but he's definitely turned it around and put himself in a position to stifle the threat. But Logan Murphy's going to do the best he can to flip the script on him. So that's a good breaking ball. That one misses outside. Even things up at 1-1.
Yeah, I really like Mendoza behind the plate. I've actually kind of caught myself just kind of staring at him. He does a good job. He really does. He perceives the ball well. He's quiet. He just.
That one's fouled back out of play. And another thing, at least from obviously this is our first time seeing him, but statistically he's thrown out 4 of the 9 people trying to steal on him, which in this day and age, especially at this level, that's pretty impressive to be almost at a 50% clip.
Yeah, I mean, the best catchers at the big league level are 28 to 30%,
So Mendoza doing a good job, and Eisen would like to keep his day going well. And as we talk about it, that's
always the way it happens.
Jinx.
It's like
Breaking
kid's pitching a great game, and he starts throwing bounce passes. Man, kid's been on fire, and he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
And so that could deal costly for Shawnee State, as now a base hit likely scores 2 with plus runners at both second and third for the Grenadiers. Southeast will turn still to Murphy to see if he can't get the job done. So 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 away and 2 on. And the pitch. That one's going to be a breaking ball, missed low and outside. Count full.
Yeah, maybe we just start, kind of just giving love to all the Bears, and it's just like the little bit of black magic, we've got that in our back pocket if we need it, I guess.
Payoff breaking ball. That one's going to be hit high and hit well deep in the gap and making a run. Not going to get there is Tressler, so that's going to be runs, and Murphy going for 3, and he is going to be in there diving with a triple. So a 2-out, 2 RBI triple by the catcher Murphy, and that's going to grow this lead. And like you said earlier, Ben, that's a way to flex, and especially you have them on the ropes, right? You get 2 leadoff runners, and it looks like it could be a big inning, but you get 2 quick outs, right? And then just like that, not come to fruition, and they score a couple.
I think props to, the Grenadiers and timely hitting, 2-out RBIs, or they're, take the wind out of your sails. But what about Logan Murphy running the bases? I mean,
not every catcher is that fleet of foot.
I mean, he's not as fast as Ben Berenda. I mean, we had to take a cab to first base. But, hey, real quick, shout out to Marco Romero. He just shot me a text. Poppy, we hear you listening. We miss you, bud. We love you. We're proud of you and all that you're doing with the Chicago Cubs.
Absolutely. Marco Romero, a staple, especially on that 21
That's a main
World
course
Series
around
team.
here. It's a porterhouse.
A lot of people from that era of Grenadier that you just hear about them, and it's just first thought is what a great person that is, right?
It's like reading the Odyssey. It's like all these like Aphrodites, Zeus. It's like I don't even know them all, but just like they're almost mythical beings, and I miss them all.
So, and that brings up former Mark Romero teammate Braden Hazelwood, as he's going to watch that one low and now heading to count 3-1. Hazy trying to extend this inning for the Grenadiers.
Oh man, Hazy as a rookie on our World Series run. I mean, had a lot of fun. I never visibly saw somebody's heart beating in their neck, but man, it's you're almost jealous to see somebody care that much about something that it's like I put on my this is cool. I put on my my leggings today because obviously it's a staple of February baseball, and I saw like in one of my Under Armour outfits, I saw like a sweat stain in one of them. I'm like, number one, how do you sweat at that time of the year? Number two is, man, I remember what it was like to like get a little amped up and get a little like the juices flowing. I got a pit stain.
Your heart pumping.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, hey, I'm gonna put that on.
Absolutely. So Hazelwood draws the 2-out walk, and that will bring up the 9-hole for the Grenadiers and Colin Long. First pitch to him will be in there for a called strike. So
a great time to do like a little trickery. Maybe do like a double steal or a steal stop or something. You got a cushion, and
especially you have 2+ runners on the corners for the Grenadiers, as that one's going to miss high and inside, as almost got away from Eisen.
Mackay Stoner, son of a former professional baseball player, but he can flat run.
And I think I was told they did some testing, and his top speed miles per hour is at the average of the NFL. So definitely plus speed when it comes to at third base. And then Hazelwood, definitely fleet of foot as well. So definitely 4 or 5 times there.
A lot of definites out here. With
if Hazelwood's able to, get whether in a pickle you do a steal stop,
definitely
you have a candidate at third base that has a good chance at making it home with the ball getting drawn to the middle of the field. That one just thrown into right field, and that one is going to be caught by the right fielder Gasper, but big 2-out triple by Murphy extends the Grenadiers' lead 7-3 as we head to the top of the 8th. the catcher Mendoza set and in the box to lead off for the Grenadiers, or for Shawnee State rather, and a great snare there by Shield, and he's going to make the play in plenty of time. Words are hard.
That was a great play. We talked about earlier. Just Slater is. I mean, you add him to the greats of third baseman. I know last year he struggled throwing the ball at times. He still, I think, made less than 10 errors, but I'd say most of them were throwing. But, man, he's twitchy. I mean, he can go.
He's made, and this is something we've talked about up here as we've watched, the first, 16 or 17 games as that one's cut on and missed by Snydak. He's made a lot of great plays. There's only been one play where I can at least remember where it's like, that kind of looked like some of the shakiness that he had last year. But, I mean, he's made a lot of improvements and strides to improve his own game at the hot corner.
Mm-hmm. Interesting approach by the Bears. Shafe's approaching 100 pitches, and they're coming out. First pitch swinging. I mean, first two batters hacking early. Shafe's – I mean, if you go back and really look at his outing, really no free bases. Has he walked a guy? I don't think so. Yeah,
no
walked
walks.
a guy, which is incredible.
As he runs a 3-ball count here, so hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll sprinkle a little black magic on our own guys, I guess. But, just trying to get into the pen and just, especially when you're talking about a series. Ooh. Well, true to form.
Well, yep, there it is. But, yeah, so that'll be a one-out walk to Snydak and bring up.
Well, maybe he'll be the third guy of the day to run to attack. So.
Yeah, Schaefer. This will be his 99th pitch. Grenadiers do have Gavin Knust warming in the bullpen, so possibly his last batter of the day as there's a lefty on deck. So that could play into part of the decision for Brett Neffendorf. And a good breaking ball there for strike one.
Shafe's done a great job.
Yep, 7 1/3. 3 runs with 7 Ks and just the 1 walk, as we just saw. You can throw that one to my stat line if you want.
Kind of a cool story on Shafe. Backstory, he was recruited to Ball State by their former pitching coach, Dustin Glant, who, in fact, Small World, after all, theme song in the background, that was Kyle Hawkins' high school baseball coach.
Yep, he coached me my senior year in high school. Won a sectional with the Lapel Bulldogs. Give a little shout-out. That's a good block there from Murphy on a 0-2 breaking ball to keep Snydak first.
I mean, he's motivated. He's off the triple, beating his chest.
He's amped up, and he said,
Love it.
Got to stay locked in the last third. That's one of the things I've noticed that Brett Neffendorf does talk about, and a good pitch that's going to miss just outside to even things up. But he talks about winning the thirds, right? Like breaking the game up into 3 thirds. So if you win 2 of the 3 thirds, you're putting yourself in a great position to win the ball game, right? Mm-hmm. So far, the Grenadiers have won the first 2 thirds, so now really it comes down to that final third, as that one's going to be hit high and chance to stay in play and off the glove of Max Flock.
Tough play.
Yeah, with the gray skies.
Max was giving us the whole, it went that way, and it's like, Max, the flag is stuck to the foul ball or the flagpole.
It's all
but yeah, that stuff is extremely disorienting. You've heard me talk about this a lot over the years, standing next to me in the dugout. Those plays where catchers are ranging laterally, and you stand up, you turn around, you're running sideways, and it's just tough. I mean, you'd love to have those plays, especially with like that pitch from Shafe. I mean, Shafe just dotted, arm side, in a 2-strike count. Great pitch, command wise, late in his outing. Love to have it.
Yeah. So the 2-2 here, that one is a costly mistake, it looks like, because that one's got a chance to get out. And at the track, and a great play there by Long to make the catch.
Dude, we got some great arms in the outfield.
Yeah, that one back in a hurry. And he's going to be doubled off at second. I guess he must have rounded the bag and not touched it a second time.
Man, we have seen this all the way up to the conference tournament, where people touch bases and don't retouch bases.
So we will it doesn't look like a crazy conversation either. Maybe the first base coach for Shawnee State, but, I mean, everyone's leaving the field of play. So we will head a good turn of events and a great double play there, but we will head to the bottom half of the 8th as Grenadiers lead 7-3. So after a very eventful double play, that's going to go down as a F7 and then a 7-6-9 as Braden Hazelwood was in to touch second base on the appeal. So it appeared that the base runner did not re-tag up on second base after he'd already touched it. So an unfortunate series of events for Shawnee State, but a good break for the Grenadiers as now Slater Shield and the top of the lineup will lead off to start the eighth, or the bottom of the eighth, rather.
Yeah, we got the Bears on the ropes, and now's the time where you just whittle away. You know, no bad swing decisions, no costly base running mistakes. You know, nothing out of line. You can, you know, ride the wave into the next game, and really, I think that's what leads you to a sweep on day one.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that the Grenadiers have struggled with early is kind of winning and sweeping the day. They were able to get their first day sweep this past Monday against Huntington. And so it's going to take a lot of concentration, especially between games, to keep it rolling. And obviously still there's more outs for them to get to even cement this one, but in a good spot as that one's going to be bounced in front of the plate. Count 3-1 to Shield. As this is right around 65 pitches for Eisen out of the pen, so coming in and being, like you said earlier, long bulk guy. Might be hitting the end of his leash a little bit physically, and that one's going to miss for leadoff walk.
He's done a great job. I think there's something there. I don't know if it was by design to hook, you know, your game one guy early, whether it be workload, pitch count, whatever. But, you know, the Grinnies have earned it. I mean, it's not like they've been given a bunch of free stuff. Yeah, there's been some errors here and there, mishandling the ball, but, you know, probably more free bases than Rob would like to see. But this kid's done a great job. He's come in and he's really shown some ability. I mean, for a young guy, I mean, you can see him easily, you know, being a solid rotation guy in this conference.
Absolutely, as that will bring up Mason White, 3 for 4 so far on the day. No RBIs, oddly enough. Can't say there's been many games that's happened thus far. And off his shield and a pitch out, and they were ready for it, but it's not going to matter as he's in there safely.
Yeah, Grenadiers getting a little bit predictable with the 1-0-0-1 steal.
Action counts.
Write it down.
You can know what's happening, and sometimes it still doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right.
As Shield obviously in there safely. So runner in scoring position for White, looking for his first RBI of the day and would love to find his fourth hit as well.
Always cease to amaze, you know, just by, you know, scouting over the years, or whether that's recruiting or, you know, scouting for professional baseball, just the defensive positioning. You know, we've got top five, we got infielders playing halfway. Our third baseman's in. Like, was he going to lay down a bunt? Are you just trying to, you want to get the catcher's gear out as this bullet's being flung at you? But I don't know.
Yeah,
no knock. Just.
There's a lot of different strategies.
I mean, I would knock our own third basemen over the years more than anybody. Of like, Malone, why do you play the whole game looking at me in the dugout? You know, remember Malone's freshman year, he made 31 errors on
matches jersey number.
Yeah, he wore number 31, and
that's going to be back-to-back walks for Eisen. So no one in the pen for Shawnee State. So it looks like they're going to stick with the right-hander, as maybe showing some signs of fatigue. But
it's like, hey, Cody, why don't you take your glove out there today? You want to take your glove out to third base today? But I'll never forget, in the conference tournament, he makes 3 errors in the first inning, and
you get Brad Walker ready to go in to
Brad
pull
Walker
him.
ready, and Brad, to this day, one of the all-time greats, just teammate, work hard, always ready. Probably should have had more opportunities than what he was given over the years, but nonetheless, just a great guy, great program guy. Anyway, Malone comes up at first bat, hits a bomb, and then I'm like, yeah, you got more to do than that, son. I remember at one point Papa Real chirping him in 2019 in the dugout. It was kind of funny, but and then his next at bat, bomb. You know, it's just like, okay, so Malone's got to be in the game. Just take an L screen out there with you next time you head to third.
Count 0-1 to Cody Putnam as his first pitch he bunts foul. So even late game, and looking like the Grenadiers are going to turn to possibly some small ball, as that one's a cut on a miss, but fouled out of play. So quickly behind in the count now, 0-2.
Yeah, and let's see if the first baseman gets out of bunt defense. Maybe
with
he
2
wants
strikes.
the catcher's gear to wear. Man. It's all part of the process, though. You're learning, and
Still early, right?
I guess
Our
that's
first
why you have
conference
coaches.
weekend.
You know, you got to have somebody to coach. You wouldn't have a job.
Eisen looks in for a sign and has it. And he'll deliver the 0-2 pitch to Putnam, but he will head to second base with pickoff attempt first, but back in plenty of time with Shield. Cody 1 for 2. Love to pick up his first RBI of the afternoon. And the pitch. Fouled straight back right at us.
Cookie right there.
Yeah, little hanging breaking ball.
I saw his last home run that you guys put on social media. I mean, he caught it. I mean, the call was good, by the way.
It's a learning process up here.
I want to have my first call where it's like that's gone and hits the wall. You know what I mean? Like just because you see it with players or the longest single I've ever seen.
And that one's going to be thrown into shallow right field. Coming on to make the play is Gasper.
Great base running by Slater.
Going to appeal at second. We'll see. And they're going to say no, he did not leave early. So somewhat productive out at least there for Cody Putnam. As now we got runners at the corners with one away for Trevor Goodwin. Plus runners on the corners for Brett Neffendorf and his Grenadiers. We'll see if they put some action.
Great time for Goody to just, go big stick. You got guys that can run. They probably don't want to bounce one in there and risk a pass ball or risk Mason being able to read the dirt ball.
And a bunt, another one. His one was so good, and now it's going to be a fielder's choice, but an RBI, and he's fired up at first base.
Wow.
So the bunt was so good in his last at bat that Brett Neffendorf calls on him to do it again, and he puts down another good one.
Credit to, I think, the overall commitment to Neff's system. I mean, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to any coach out there, but you can really measure the commitment of your whole organization based on guys like Trevor Goodwin, who hit home runs last year and jogged a lot. And this year he's laying down bunts. It's like
the team, as he gets pinch ran for, is Alex Uritz's going to come in and run for him at first base. But the team just absolutely mobs him as they know that, like you said, that's not his style, right? As a player.
But that's our style this year,
right? And that's the team. The hero is the team.
The hero is the team, exactly. It's not. And the thing is, like me and my dad were talking about old Papa Real. The style is different now. It still doesn't matter. It transcends. It's just it's been adjusted, and
and
here we go.
Have a little bit of a misplay, as that one's going to be. So we're going to have a square bunt pulled back for a ball, and then the throw down to first, and just squeaks out of the glove of Snydak that allows Mason White to advance to third. So those are some of the little things. As we're getting late in this ball game, those can't happen if you're wanting to have a chance to come back if you're Shawnee State.
Yeah, this is not ideal. Late in the game kind of adds insult to injury a little bit, but nope.
As that one's going to be popped up and caught. So mistake for mistake.
Some poise right there, in terms of looking at his run line. He's kind of been up and down, but just the wherewithal to hang in there and not be frustrated and just catch a muffed bunt and yak it down the third baseline. So credit to him.
Yeah, so 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th. Eisen still on for Shawnee State, as there is rumblings down in the Bears bullpen, but that'll bring up the first baseman Max Flock.
Something really cool to add, showing the commitment to playing this style of baseball. If IU Southeast never attempted this style in the rest of the series, Shawnee, the Bears will never forget it. It's like they know they got it, so it's like
the threat of it happening.
It's weaponizing the idea of something.
And a good breaking ball there, and going to say that he went around without a check.
Brad's ready for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, he's getting a little tired back there, I think. Is the crew chief Brad Wilson, but his opinion on that one's all that matters, as Yurt is off and running, and a good swing. And they're going to say that he got him on the tag is Yurt caught stealing, so that will end the inning. But the Grenadiers do scratch one to extend their lead to 8-3 as we head to the 9th inning in New Albany. Brett Neffendorf will look to veteran right-hander Garrett Hill to close this one out. Garrett comes into today with a 0.0 ERA on the year and 7 2/3 with 9 Ks and only 3 walks.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to look at, not only managing a game but a series. It's like, to be there in the end, you got to win all the series. I mean, you just have to. You need to be sweeping series, but, the only way to sweep is to win the first one. So now I don't agree with that in the postseason because you got to win the last one to move on. You don't need to win the first one, which, I say that, but I did that last year at the postseason. We should have tucked one back. But, it's like Papa really used to say, hey, why don't we bunt that guy over in the ninth inning and say, hey, Dad, I get it. The game's over.
That one will miss inside.
No offense to Papa Real, but, I mean, it's just that's the heat you got to take as a manager. You make decisions and, there's always going to be scrutiny. I mean, that's how Stephen A. Smith made a living.
Count 2-1 to Gasper as he awaits the pitch. That one cut on a miss. Good fastball from Hill to even things up at 2-2.
Well, my over-under was 11 pitches this inning, but
we're already at 4.
Yeah, we're not in a good spot. It's the 5th offering, so we're not in a good spot.
It'll be Gasper, Scott, and Kitchen due up in the final frame for Shawnee State. That one cut on and missed, so a good battle back from Hill to get him down swinging. So leadoff man is retired via the strikeout, and that brings up Ryan Scott.
Yeah, Garrett's fun to watch. I mean, great human, great family, one of the most compassionate players you'll ever meet. Really has a bright future, but he's fun to watch. He really can command some stuff. I know ever since he's kind of struggled with the spin a little bit, but his fastball, change up, and his whole arsenal is good. Like when he misses, it's not like a bounce pass. It's just right there.
Yeah, and he'll fall behind to Scott here as that one just misses low.
His outing in the conference tournament in 2022 against Point Park in the winners bracket championship game was, after he had battled back to get ready for those moments, was probably would be one of the highlights of my career. Just watching him absolutely just compete and just blow doors off people. It was
all fastballs.
And everybody in our dugout was just like eating popcorn and just being like, "This is fun."
A rare spin there, as that looks to be like a little bit of a slider. It's going to get Scott chasing to go down the count.
Yeah. You remember that?
I do, absolutely. It was straight gas, all fastballs, and nothing.
No brakes.
No brakes, all gas. Has a good slider there. That was just
Great.
off the edge.
Great job by Murphy. Great job receiving that pitch.
So a good eye there from Scott as he'll run the count even.
I'd like to give a shout out here a second to my wife and my family, my newborn baby daughter. I think they're listening in, but appreciate you guys letting me be here today and support something I love and I'm so passionate about. But I love you guys.
Yeah, there's another good at-bat there from Ryan Scott. He'll have his second hit in as many trips off the bench as just turns that fastball right back around and into center field. And that'll bring up Brock Kitchen. So one away here in the ninth. Going to need a slew of base runners to scratch back into this if you're Shawnee State.
Yeah, but what you don't want to happen is you don't want to walk away from a game feeling like you lost. And I'm not saying this any other reason why. You just want to keep everything buttoned up. You want to keep not saying you can't give up hits and base runners. You just want to no mental errors, no lack of focus and concentration. You want to make the Bears earn anything that they get. And because this, has a carryover into game two. What anybody says, it's just there's a residual effect of previous efforts.
Absolutely, especially on a doubleheader day as we have on this cloudy Saturday. So the 1-0 pitch to Kitchens is going to be fouled out of play. So Hill looking for a double play ball if put in play. Would love it.
So question for you, Kyle, and I know I made the schedule for this year, but what are our crossover series this year? Shawnee?
So our crossover series, if I'm pulling from my brain, we have Shawnee State, and then we also have, as that one's fouled out of play, we are traveling to Rio Grande as a second one, and then we are hosting Ohio Christian. So those are the three opponents that we will face that are from the East Division. And then, of course, the West is comprised of ourselves, IU Columbus, IU Kokomo, Brescia, and Oakland City, with rounding that out in Midway University. So those will be the opponents that the Grenadiers will have from a conference standpoint in the regular season.
West is tough.
And that one's going to be chopped in time at second. And that one's going to do it as a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play is going to end it here in game one as Garrett Hill comes on and slams the door. So the Grenadiers take game one 8-3. As the win song is going through the speakers. And game time for game two will be in approximately 30 minutes. So scheduled for 5. I imagine we will stick with that start time. So, Ben, thank you for coming in here for game one. And everyone stick around. In about a half hour, we'll have game two. Get an opportunity to go check out our pregame show as we do a little bit of a dive into the early season so far for the Grenadiers, as well as looking into this series just a bit. But that'll do it here in game one as the Grenadiers take this one. Final score 8-3. I'm Kyle Hawkins, Ben Real, and we'll see you in about a half hour.